Good morning, everybody. It is the Mike Missanelli Show. Good tidings to everybody out there with this happy fan base that we have here for the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm very anxious to speak to our happy patrons of our Philadelphia 76ers today. My name is Mike Missanelli. This is the Mike Missanelli Show. Bill Colarulo is with us. Today, Tom Alford is filling in for Ray Dunn on this very special day. As you can tell, I am trying to be lighthearted about this whole thing with the Philadelphia 76ers. I sit here and I watch the same thing that you watch, and I go, this team is in trouble in so many different ways it's not even funny. And I know the big salvation is that when the big three get together, there'll be enough time to get it together and make a run. And I give you the following statistics, which are to reach 46 victories, which is what the Heat did last year for 8th place play-in tournament. The Sixers must go 44-25 the rest of the way to reach 36 wins, the Drek position in the play-in tournament. That was what Atlanta did last year. The Hawks had 36 wins to leak in the 10th spot. The Sixers must go 34-35. Now, that seems very reasonable. One game under 500. That's also the 10th seed where they would have been in the play-in tournament. Either statistic that I just gave you is the play-in tournament. And I sit there and I go, See, all this stuff that I talked about prior to the season that everybody came at me for and shirked. Oh, Mike, you're just overreacting. It's a good thing that they're saving him and putting him in bubble wrap because the playoffs are the only thing that counts. Look at this team and the way they play. Look at the disarray they play with. The coach doesn't even know what to do with this team. He's got no methodology to make these guys that he has playing, and last night 2 of the big 3 were playing. He has no plan to make this team play together. They finished last night's game ranked last in field goal percentage and offensive rating. The Heat, who aren't even a good team, scored 23 fast break points and 14 off Sixers turnovers. They do have a head coach, don't they? They did have a training camp. He did see what kind of players he had. This is just absolutely flat out bad, flat out embarrassing. And if you want to believe that somehow something magic is going to happen that lifts this team to be an upper echelon team in this conference, then you knock yourself out. And I'll sit here and I'll listen to you today because I'm kind of in a mellow mood. You wouldn't know that by how I started this show, but I'm in a mellow mood because I see what this team is. And I don't buy the nonsense that suddenly they're going to get it together and be a viable team. Because I want to add this to see if you agree with this. 2 of the big 3 players who were in the game last night don't look like they're nearly the same kind of player that we expected them to be. Now, if I'm lying, I'm dying. So let me turn it over to one Bill Colarulo.
Mike, I'd love to be the voice of positivity here, but there's nothing to be positive about. I'm not even angry. I'm just so defeated when it comes to this Sixers team and watching the slop that they're putting out on the court. I mean, everybody knows the record, 2-11, worst in the NBA. But last night may have been the straw that broke the camel's back for me with this team. When you're up 19 in the second quarter and you blow that lead, and in the final 33 minutes of the game, you get outscored 79-43, when only Paul George is the only starter that gets a free throw attempt in that game. There wasn't another starter in the game that gets to the foul line. Joel Embiid doesn't get to the foul line once. That's the first time that's happened since February of 2018. And then you've talked a lot, Mike, about these aging veterans that they have coming off the bench, the Kyle Lowrys, the Eric Gordons. And now, for some reason, they're throwing Jeff Doughton out there. They combined for 3 of 14 from the field. And here's what frustrated me the most last night. We keep talking about, Joel Embiid, he's ramping up. And I know he was sick last night. He's ramping up. Then how the hell does Jimmy Butler miss 10 days? Hadn't played a game since November 8th. Wasn't supposed to come back from that ankle injury for a while. And all he does last night is drop 30 points and 10 rebounds. There is a serious problem with this basketball team. And, Mike, I defended it. I defended it to you, saying that I was okay with the load management. I was okay with them saying the regular season didn't matter. But you were 100% correct. It set a horrible tone that the players didn't need to care about the regular season, and now you're seeing the product on the court reflect the tone that was set from upper management down to Joel Embiid and trickled throughout the roster. It's a frustrating thing to watch.
Grasshopper, you say some wisdom. So the Sixers, all this time, were permissive to the ramp-up. And guess what? The player is permissive to this notion of the ramp-up, so permissive that he doesn't feel he even has to play hard at this point. Because what he said after yesterday's game was, the next couple games, I'm probably going to try hard to be more aggressive as far as doing more. All of a sudden that dawned on you that you have to do more? Because I'm seeing a guy who bought into what the Sixers actually carved out for you, which is that you just have to ramp up. This part of the season is not important. We just need to save you for the end of the season. And so when you create an atmosphere like that, what do you think the player is going to feel? You think the player is going to go out and say, I'm going to try to be more aggressive when the team needs him to be more aggressive, when the team needs him to dominate with a bunch of dreck that he's trying to play with? He's permissive to what? Not playing?
I don't know, Mike. It's a sad day for me. Like I said, I'm not angry. I'm extremely depressed about this Sixers team because I was excited this offseason, as most Sixers fans were. There were some who didn't like going after a 34-year-old Paul George, but I thought, hey, he got the best player available. It's exactly what this team needed. They've been looking for that wing that can create on the offensive side of the court. They have I was getting on Nick Nurse, and maybe Nick Nurse does need to be held accountable here, but at what point do we look at these players and just say, they're washed? Is Joel Embiid, I know he's still ramping up, the quote-unquote ramp up. Is he ever going to get it back? I mean, this guy looks like he can't even jump right now. I'm really worried about the knee, and I was angry at Joel for being out of shape. But is there more going on with the knee? I keep coming back to that because it looks like he's just dragging that left leg around the court. And then you got Paul George and people who are holding out hope, saying, hey, well, once the big three gets together. I love Tyrese Maxey, and I do think he's a better player than Jared McCain. But what you're getting from Jared McCain right now, is Maxey going to give you that much more than what McCain's giving you, that suddenly the season gets saved when he comes back?
Oh, of course he's going to give you more than Jared McCain's.
But that much more is what I'm saying.
Of course he is. He's a 30-point-a-game scorer.
To correct the issues?
Well, no, to correct the issue. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen as far as that goes. That's the least of my concerns. My biggest concern now are the two other guys. Embiid, the message that he has gotten is that right now it's not important for him to bust. It's just not. It's not important. They have created that climate for him. They created a climate where he didn't even have to be in shape at the start of training camp. But the other guy doesn't look like... He's 34 years old, Paul George. Does he look like the dominant player that he once was on an every-night basis?
He came out strong yesterday.
He was 5 for 13. He was a minus 17. He was 1 for 7 from three-point. They're using Jeff Doughton as their 8th player. Jeff Doughton was their 8th player last night. Kelly Oubre now has the red ass that he doesn't start. Does he look like he's inspired to play?
No.
He's become a nothing player for them.
Yeah. I don't know what to tell you, Mike. I want to be positive
seriously.
today. I
And
can't.
then he fiddles around, and Yabusele is not even in the rotation.
Yeah, he didn't get minutes until the end of the third, I think.
I don't know what to say. I really don't.
I don't know what to say.
610-632-0975. This is how you get in. We're going to play some sound from last night's game because they had a team meeting for an hour, and Nick Nurse says they were receptive. Oh, that's nice. I'm glad they were receptive. Mike Missanelli Show is back after this. 17, it's the Mike Missanelli Show. Miami won that game last night with their 2 3-point shooters. A combined 4 for 20. And with that Miami Heat team at one stage of this game outscored the Sixers by 35 points. Now, I'm just speechless. I am speechless that team, missing a couple players as well, was able to do that. This team is a losing record that beat them last night, right? And they outscored them at one point by 35 points. And we have the center saying now he has to do more. Now, do you think the center could have thought about maybe really getting tough in there last night and bullying Adebayo? You think that thought may have, but he had an excuse. He was sick. He didn't even know he played 31 minutes. So in those 31 minutes, he drew how many fouls?
0.
Okay, so when he says now he's going to have to play harder. See, here's the thing, and I don't want to be Marcus Hayes here, but let's be real about this. This guy has played very well, okay? He's been a dominant player in this league. He's led them to wherever they got. But he is also constantly feeling sorry for himself. And he has bought in to the notion that he doesn't have to play at this stage of the season. And you know what he's doing? He's losing his cachet with the fan base. You know, the days when he used to step to the foul line and they would chant MVP, MVP, he's losing that cachet. And you know what his response is going to be? His response is going to be, well, they don't appreciate me here. I want out.
It's close to happening, man. I mean, it's not only with Joel. This fan base is close to just ignoring the Sixers soon. I mean, it's going to get to a point, if this continues, where they're just going to turn their focus elsewhere. We've been through too much as a fan base. The fact that this is the worst start since the 2015 76ers, when they're in the middle of the process, when they were 0-13, this team that we were led to believe this offseason was going to compete with the Bostons and the Knicks and the Cavs for Eastern Conference Championship, they're have the worst start since the process Sixers. Fans are going to start turning their attention elsewhere. We've been through too much as a fan base to put up with this. But what happens now, Mike? I mean, what can they do? They have the team meeting. They didn't really want to talk about it after the game. We'll play that coming up with Nick Nurse and Joel. All right, great. So that they talk about it. What can they do on the court to fix this? If Joel's not the same guy that he was, if he's unable to get fully healthy, if Paul George is now showing the fact that he's 34 years old, this is why I brought it up earlier. Simply Maxey coming back doesn't save this team, doesn't change what we're watching on the court right now. So how bad does this get, Mike? I mean, you just talked about what they need to do to get to a certain number of wins, to avoid the play-in tournament or make the playoffs. But how bad does this get? They're 2-11 now. I mean, realistically, could we be looking at 2-20, 3-20? I mean, how bad is this going to get?
Oh, I don't know. Listen, to be fair, the three of them haven't played together. So at least they keep us at bay until that happens, and then we get to see that, right? But listen, I'm just like, and Joel Embiid likes to say he's the most dominant player in the league. And yet, right now, he doesn't feel like he needs to buy into that responsibility. It is maddening to me. It is maddening to me that a guy who makes it a point that he's the most dominant player in the league would not be ready to start the season. And the bigger picture is that they were permissive to it. And in fact, helped it along, this notion that he didn't have to be ready to start the season. And hence the fans all bought into it. And I sat here and I said, you people are full of crap. This is not going to lead anywhere good. All right, let's get to Nick Nurse, Tom, on the meeting, and then we'll get Joel the Troel who had a little yuck about the meeting. So let's go with Nick.
Sorry for the delay. We just had a little meeting, so I just took a little bit longer than normally get here. Won't get into specifics of that meeting, but happy to answer any questions about the game.
Do you feel like the message was received by the group?
I mean, we can only ever find out until we play another game, right? We can only ever find out till we get to practice and see what the level of focus and energy is like, and then when we get to a next game. But yeah, I think they were.
Oh, all right, that's nice. I'm really encouraged that they were receptive to the meeting when they could have been, playing Rubik's Cube, but apparently they did pay attention to the they could have been playing a video game or looking at Twitter, but they did pay attention. Bill, you encouraged by that?
I'm not, because why would you need a team meeting to know, hey, we're 2-11? Like, at what point?
No, I don't have a problem with the team meeting.
But my concern is, have a team meeting, whatever.
Yeah.
But why would these players need a team meeting at 2-11? Like, you didn't realize there was a problem at 2-7?
Because yesterday was an all-time low. They got beat by a mediocre team and got bounced by a mediocre team. By the way, the two shooters shot 4 for 20. So, like, it's one thing when a team shoots the lights out from 3 that you get buried in a spell of the game by 35. That means they're raining threes on you.
Yeah, but they have sat in the bottom of the NBA in field goal percentage pretty much all season. They've sat in the bottom of the NBA in three-point percentage pretty much all season. Points per game, assists, rebounds. I get it. Great. Have a team meeting. But why would these players need Nick Nurse to hold a team meeting at 2-11 when you didn't realize it at 2-7, 2-8, 2-9 that there's a problem with this team?
I don't have a problem with the team meeting if you lose like that. But I'm glad that they were receptive to it, because I think that's really going to turn it around for them.
Well, you're being sarcastic.
I am being sarcastic because this coach sits here and is presiding over a team that hasn't played together at all. So I wonder, how is he coaching? Like, you seriously, like you got to be by accident coach your way to a couple wins if you're that good of a coach. Let's hear Joel at Troel on the meeting.
What it was about the meeting, I guess, without going into the specifics of it. Was it positive for you guys?
Oh, we had a meeting?
Oh, we had a meeting?
Yeah, I mean, he knows they had a meeting. He's just, I guess he's trying to keep it in-house, not realizing that
they're a troll. And he got me. I'm wildly entertained by him.
Look, I'm frustrated with Joel. But is he being a troll there, or is he just not sure that Nurse had already told the meeting?
You actually think he was serious about that, not knowing? Of course, he's being a troll. What do you think he's doing?
No, is he being a troll, or is he thinking, hey, we were going to keep this in-house?
No, he's not thinking that. He laughed about it. Yeah, we had a meeting. Knows everybody knew it was a meeting. He knew Nick Nurse was going to tell they had a meeting. It was an hour. They were waiting an hour to reporters.
Dude, if he's being a troll in that moment, when this team's 2-11, and you just went 30 minutes without drawing one foul shot, I'm hoping that he was just trying to protect.
He announced 3-4 days ago, but I'm a troll. When he was answering a question.
Crazy on our Sixers. The best case from Brian in Somerton. The best case scenario is the play-in tourney, and coming out of that as the 8th seed. That equals a first-round trouncing at the hands of the Boston Celtics. This is an embarrassment. Anyone who thinks there's any hope for this season is a fool.
Okay. Anything else? This is the same fan base that was permissive to the whole plan. The whole plan of saving them.
I'm guilty of it, Mike.
You are. You and everybody else.
I was
permissive to the gosh damn plan that it was better to keep this player in bubble wrap. What else you got, Tom?
I think you'll like this one, Mike. No name. I do think the Sixers will be okay. Dalton Jr. and Jared McCain has shown promise to be young stars that can easily contribute. And once Embiid and Maxey are healthy, they will go on a winning streak.
Are you freaking kidding me, including Jeff Dalton? In that tweet? Who are you? Please, I need you to call this show. Read that tweet again. There's actually somebody who believes this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes.
No, please.
Again, no name, unfortunately, from this person, but they say, I do think the Sixers will be okay. Dalton Jr. and Jared McCain have shown promise to be young stars.
Dalton Jr. has shown promise to be a star.
And once Embiid and Max have become healthy, they'll go on a winning streak. Mike?
I can't. Jeff Dalton can't play dead.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Well, I guess you got to give him credit.
Whoever you are, please call this show.
He's trying to be positive.
If you actually thought that to the point where you texted it, I gotta examine your brain. 610-632-0975. Oh, my God. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. We're back at it. on Sunday. We'll get around to talking about it, including Nick Sirianni, Pearls of Wisdom. We'll get to those in a little bit. The Fanatic Deal of the Week, Bill. I'm in a Yuletide type of mood.
It certainly sounds like you.
Yes. 2 single-day adult tickets to the Yuletide Liberty Hill for the price of 1. And this is a cool thing. It's located in Lafayette Hill. Yuletide Liberty Hill is the region's ultimate Christmas village, featuring rides, boutique shopping, ice skating, live music, craft drinks and food, and so much more. See, this would be perfect for the newly married Tom Alvord.
It would be nice.
Hand-holding,
But he may be-
bride, skating around,
You may be gone, though, right? When do you leave for the honeymoon?
Day after Thanksgiving.
Oh, so you got time.
Oh, you got plenty of time.
It opens Friday, I think.
Where are you going on the honeymoon, Tom?
Hawaii.
Oh, look at you.
Yes. Once in a lifetime, people say. So
That's fantastic. Enjoy those 20 hours on the airplane.
yeah, appreciate that. Thank you.
You know what? When you take trips that long, you go, oh, damn, I just wasted 2 days. I should cut my vacation short.
Yeah.
So what we are doing, we're splitting up. We're doing California there and back.
Oh,
so,
nice. So you're
6 and
staying in
6.
California for a little bit?
San Diego and San Fran. I've never been more west than Louisiana.
Oh,
so.
look at you, man.
Nice.
That's fantastic. All right, let's go to the phone. Somebody just dropped off. Come on, man. I want to talk to all these people. I especially want to talk to the guy who is high on Jeff Doughton. I need to talk to him today, or my day's not going to be complete. Really, let's go to Mark. He's in Boston. Oh my God, where there's really a franchise. Mark, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Yeah, exactly, and you really see the difference. Like if you've ever been to a Celtics game in the modern era, it's like completely different. It's just it's a culture thing. I mean, it's just completely different than what the Sixers are right now, and that's a shame because that's what we were trying to build, but we're nowhere. That's what makes me think it might be dysfunctional behind the scenes, like in the organization. To be completely honest with you, Mike.
Yeah.
It's concerning because there's a certain point where. There's a point right now we're in a danger zone if you think about it, because if they lose too many games too early, it'll be too much of a climb out. Like even if you go on a winning streak, you'd have to rely on other teams to lose at the same time. That's the other problem too, and you can't do that because it's just not. It's not.
Well, I mean, this stat is so daunting, Mark, that they would have to go 44-25 the rest of the way to finish 8th.
That's what I'm saying. So now we're like nobody expected this, right? Did anybody expect this? So this is to the point now where it's like this is you have to start thinking about possibilities that you might not have thought about before. That's all I'm saying. Like, what do you do? Like, if you're if you're the front office, you might have to say to yourself, we might have to restart because if the season's down the toilet at a certain point. No, do you agree or not? I mean, if they go 5-23, Mike,
listen, the only hope is that somehow, like this belief that they're saving themselves for the playoffs and they go into the playoffs healthy and it doesn't matter what their seed is and they can rise up. But when we're talking about playing now the Bostons or the Clevelands of the world, and even the Knicks, like, what is the hope that you're going to get out of the first round?
And it's not even against those teams, Mike. It's about just like them playing at a standard that's even like regular.
Yeah, I get you. You gotta beat those teams 4 times.
4 times. It's really. I just don't. I don't know how you do. I mean, first of all, you'd have to assume a lot's going to happen right. You'd have to assume that when all 3 are healthy, that they're going to play cohesively, that they're going to play well.
Yeah, I get it, but look at their depth, Mark. You can't just play 5 guys for 48 minutes.
Yeah. No, I know.
Their depth is a bunch of old guys that give you 0.
So what now, then?
I don't know. That's why today I'm going, this mindset, when I start talking about this is not good. They're not even playing in the preseason, these guys. They're not setting the right tone. They assembled a team with moist clay balls that they blapped on a wall. Now, if you think, that's not connective tissue. They're blops on a wall.
Now you can't even move the assets because they're old. and the money is insane.
Well, that's why this whole thing goes back when I felt a bad feeling about. First of all, I didn't have a good feeling about the way they assembled role players that are old. I don't like old role players. Well, listen, when you're Boston and you can add one of those guys, then you're fine. You can't add like 3 and 4 older guys off the bench and hope that you're going to get something out of them. That's why they're old. That's why they've been passed around. They're not effective anymore. And Daryl Morey insists that guys who are in their mid-30s can still play.
Your points about the bench guys, valid. Your points about everything, valid. The tone that was set to start the season, all of that. But there's a bigger concern that I have right now with this basketball team, because even if they had better role players, even if they didn't set this tone to start the season, is Joel Embiid more seriously injured than they're letting us believe that he is? Is there something more going on? If it's just that he's out of shape, I'm frustrated, but at least he can get into shape. But is there more going on with the knee where we're not going to see Joel Embiid get back to the dominant force that he was last season and years before?
Possibly he's hit a wall as a player, physically and mentally. Possible.
Well, but if that's the case, it doesn't matter what the other things are.
Let's stretch it out to the best case scenario, though. Best case scenario is these 3 click and they become something viable in the playoffs. Now, again, you weren't buying into this at all. And so, and neither were the people. The people thought that somehow all that's important is they get into the playoffs. So even if it's a 7 seed, but look at the teams you have to beat then. This is why I'm saying you got to finish in the top 3 seeds to avoid a first round failing. Because at that point, when you're playing Boston, Cleveland, or the Knicks, you got to beat them 4 times, and you don't have home court advantage. And people just blew that off. So even the best case scenario, you're going to need role players because your starting 5 can't play, especially with guys like Embiid and Paul George cannot play those 48 minutes. So look at your bench. Look at now what you have to survive with. That has to eat up minutes. You got to have Oubre eating up minutes. You got to have Garrett Gordon eat up minutes. You got to have KJ Martin, Reggie Jackson, Andre Drummond eat up minutes. Like, on what earth are they going to eat up enough minutes to make you viable, even if your master 3 click?
You know, Reggie Jackson and KJ Martin didn't play last night, but then that's why you see Jeff Doughton coming off the bench as your 8th player. It's frustrating, Mike, but what you're talking about, to me, is all secondary to the big man. Because if Joel Embiid is not the MVP caliber Joel Embiid, it doesn't matter who your bench players are. Now, you're right. Even if Joel comes back healthy and this big 3 starts to mesh, you still need better role players. But I'm not only worried about this season, I'm worried about the next 3 years now. Because if Joel is not the guy that we thought he was, where do they go from there? I mean, we're not only talking about this season, we're talking about the next 3 years, and they just extended him. How long? What's the contract for?
I don't think that he's hurt. I think he has bought into the narrative that they've created for him to buy into, which is don't worry about it. That's what I think it is. They created a scenario that's not important, and he's bought right into it. It's not important.
So what you saw last night from Joel, you thought was more about attitude towards the regular season than physically unable to perform?
Yes.
Because I see a guy dragging that leg. Man.
Really?
I mean, I guess he's always done that. You know, when you go back, he's always been slow up and down the court.
Has always done that. And he says after the game last night, next couple games, I'm going to try to be more aggressive as far as doing more. Now, does that tell you anything? Does it tell you that he's bought into, I don't have to do that now?
Well, yeah, if you're going to be more aggressive, it means you haven't been aggressive, right? Mike, I don't say it often. I said it yesterday. I'll say it again.
You don't have to say
You were correct.
You don't have to say that.
I was permissive
You don't
of
have
this.
to say that. I just think that the majority of this fan base was so enamored with the concept of saving him that now you've lost the season.
You ready to declare it a loss already?
Well, right now it's lost. I mean, listen, when I cite these numbers, do you actually think that this team could play to that level where they can go? They have to go. What was the number? 45 and 24.
Yeah,
Do you actually think that they can do that? They have to go. 44 and 25. Do you think they can do that the rest of the way? Do you think they're good enough to do that?
It again all comes down to Joel, because last season,
Bill, I'm talking about the whole team now, the whole thing. Joel can't play 48 minutes. You're going to have to sub out guys, right? So with that because people think that the big three get back, they can play 48 minutes. It doesn't work that way. They're still only going to play 35 minutes. That means you have to cut 13 more minutes with people.
I get that, but last season, before Joel got hurt, they were 31-8. And I don't think that their bench guys were that much better than what you're having
They
now.
had a different mindset to start the year. Their mindset wasn't to preserve.
But I know. It keeps coming back to the
keep
tone.
butting me, and I know you want to find something positive.
Does their mindset change now? Like, was last night the kick in the ass that they needed, that team meeting where it can change?
The kick in the ass when you're playing Jeff Dalton as your eighth best player? That's the kick in the ass? What
He's a
are
young up-and-coming star.
What are they? What are they? They're going to still miss Maxey for a couple more weeks. What are they right now?
Right now, they're a bottom two team in the league.
Who can pick them up? Other than Jared McCain's trying to pick them up. He's playing great. Who else is picking them up?
Well, it's going to have to start with Joel. If Joel gets back to it, and I keep saying if, because I'm not sure it's going to happen, but if he gets back to the guy you saw to start the season last year, who was having the best season of his career, and the team was 31-8, and then Maxey comes back and continues to play the way we know Maxey can
so
play.
You're telling me you think they can go 44-25?
I think they can. I'm not saying that they will. I think that they can. What's that winning percentage? What's 44-25?
That makes them 46-36 for the year. If they do that, that means 10 games over 500. That was the 8th slot last year. 10 games over 500. Now, chances are, if they don't do that, the bottom rung last year was 36 wins to get in the playoffs. That's the 10th seed.
Yeah, so they need to win.
So if they get the 10th seed, guess who they play in the first round if they survive?
Boston.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, at least they could put us out of our misery quickly.
Let's go back to the text board, Tom. What do you got?
People hot on your Philadelphia 76ers. Obviously, this is Ray in Williamstown. I'm done in all caps. I kept coming back every year, but this year was the last straw. I won't waste my own time watching a minute of this team at home. Maybe I'll go to a game or two as something to do in the winter when the tickets are $9 on the secondary market, but I have no emotional investment in the team.
No, see, this I'm done stuff, you're not done because you're still intrigued to see the three of them play together. So don't give me the I'm done thing. No, you can be disgruntled, and you can tell me that you were a sapsucker for believing that it was more important to preserve than actually play and get ready for a season. You could do that.
Listen, for them to go 44-25, I'm trying to be positive here. For them to go 44-25, that would be a winning percentage of .650. I know this team is giving us no reason to believe that they can do that. But I still think there's a small chance. Even saying it, I can't say it without laughing. There is a chance. If Joel is healthy, there is a chance when Maxey comes back and the big three plays together. But I have bigger concerns about Joel more than just the mentality and the attitude. He doesn't look right physically.
If Joel is healthy, now let's go deep inside that. So you're saying that with this mindset of preserving him for the playoffs now, that they're going to grind him out for the whole season. And he's going to be healthy, and he's going to carry him to great heights because they're still going to worry about the playoffs and overplaying him.
Yeah, so he's still not playing back-to-back.
Right, the mindset is to preserve him.
Wait, what do we got?
So how, if the mindset is to preserve him, how in hell are they going to win 44-25?
And what do we have, 13 or 14 more back-to-backs? You know, it's around
I
that.
don't know off the top of my head.
Well, let's just say, err on the side of making it less. I think it's 13 probably. If it's those are 13 losses, most likely.
Even in the games, they're not going to play them to the hilt because they're worried.
But they have to. See,
But they're not, because they want their big priority is to have them healthy for the playoffs. They're not going to try to now grind them in the regular season.
Yes, but that priority may have to change because if they do this, they're not going to make the playoffs.
Well, listen, they'll make it with 36 wins.
What are they going to save them for?
They are convinced that as long as they get to the playoffs, they have a shot. So they're not going to go 44-25.
Listen. I was permissive of the load management because I thought the team would be good enough without Joel to not be a 10 seed, to not be in the play-in tournament. And what we talked about is I said, when you look at the prior NBA champions, those numbers are a little skewed when low seeds haven't made it because the Sixers would be a different type of lower seed because Joel didn't play that many games. Therefore, they're a better team than what their record would reflect. But at this point, I think that plan has to change.
You bought right into it, man.
I did buy into it.
You sucked right into it.
I did.
Your lips were on the tailpipe of the Sixers, blowing out garbage.
I am accepting that. That is 100% accurate. But at this point, I think their plan has to change. You can't load manage them now. Because to your point, you can't be a 10 seed. You can't play Boston in round 1. You just can't. Hey, or maybe we look at it the other way. Maybe that ensures the fact that Joel will be healthy for the series. Because if you get to them in the Eastern Conference Finals, maybe Joel's hurt already. So maybe that is the plan, Mike. Maybe the plan is to play Boston in the first round. So you have a healthy Joel. I'm grasping here, dude. Mike is not a happy guy today. He is not very gruntled today. Did you know that was a word?
I heard that yesterday. Yes, I did catch that part.
610-632-0975. You want to climb in? Yeah, climb in. Listen, I want to hear your views on it. Maybe you're not as down as I am, and I would love to have you pick up my spirits today, and I am open to that. Mike Missanelli Show. Back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Another Sixers loss. Sometime outboard. This update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. It's Mattress Firm's Black Friday sale. Get matched with your perfect bed and save up to $700 on a wide selection of quality mattresses. See store for details. Yes, the Sixers were embarrassed once again last night as they fell to the Miami Heat by a score of 106-89. This despite leading by 19 points early in the second quarter. Joel Embiid did play despite being listed as doubtful, but he scored just 11 points in 31 minutes. Nick Nurse said that the team held a team meeting in the locker room following the loss. With the loss, Sixers now fall to 2-11 on the season, the second worst record in all of the NBA. They look to end the skid on Wednesday against the Grizzlies. The Birds begin to prep for their Week 12 matchup in LA against the Rams on Sunday. Head coach Nick Sirianni spoke to the media yesterday and talked a little bit about seeing more explosive plays lately from his offense.
It takes everybody. That's what's so cool about football. You're dialing it up at the specific time, and the coach is coaching it up, so all things happen. That's just good team football, I think, that you attribute that to. We'll look to continue to have success on those explosive plays.
Make sure to tune in at 11:30 as Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore speak to the media. And the Flyers' comeback fell short last night as they fell to the Avalanche by a score of 3-2. I'm Tom Malbord in the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
chance. 11 o'clock hour of the Mike Missanelli Show. The 11 o'clock hour. Let's see. It's brought to us by. Here it is. 11 o'clock hour is brought to us by Grungo Law. You're a law firm when you need help because of an injury. Pray for peace, prepare for trial at grungolaw.com. There you go. Let's start off the hour on a good note. Let's play Grade My Shoe. Because you're big on the YouTube chat. You'll get immediate feedback on this.
We
right?
will. Yeah, we will.
Grade My Shoe.
Are you going to be able to lift up your leg that high?
No, I took it off.
Oh.
I'm going to raise the shoe. What do you think I'm going to put my leg in the air?
I didn't know where you were
I took
going.
my shoe off, right? So here's the thing about me. I got like 20 pairs of sneaks, and I only wear like 2 of them, right? So 18 of them just sit there because I got tired of them or I didn't like them or they didn't feel right. So about 3 years ago when I was playing basketball, I like a shoe that has a more narrow toe. I don't like a wide toe.
Okay.
So I see the Giannis sneaker. It's called the Freak. So I get it, and it's not performing that way. It doesn't feel right, But I just want to know how people feel about this particular shoe. Now, it's got a good color scheme to it, doesn't it?
It does.
It's got a good color scheme, but it's got this thing here, which is the Velcro thing over the ball, the top of the foot. You're not feeling this sneaker, are you?
I'm not. See, I'm more of
Tom,
a...
what do you think of this sneaker?
I like the sneaker
You do?
itself.
You like the sneaker?
I don't understand the Velcro strap though.
The Velcro strap are sneakers that had these straps over the years also. But the sneaker apparently didn't catch on because it says, if you see here, it says Freak.
Well, yeah. See, first of all, I think that may be a violation in of itself.
What, Freak?
That you're wearing the Greek Freak sneaker in Philadelphia.
Well, I don't care who's
all right.
sneaker. Wait, you wear Jordan?
I do wear
over
Jordans.
the years. Well, like what? So why? He wasn't Philadelphia, was he?
So
Did you wear a Kobe sneaker? I wore a KD sneaker. I had a KD sneaker.
So I either go Jordans or Air Maxes. I like the Air Max 90s. But like the current basketball player sneaker, I don't know. Let me tell you what they're saying on YouTube.
Well, this first of all says Air. So it's got the Air technology. It's a Nike. It's a Nike sneaker.
See, I would only wear that to play basketball, though. I wouldn't wear that as a casual shoe.
Well, this is the first time I ever wore it as a casual shoe because I got blue on today. So I figured the blue would wear. Like, I haven't worn this sneaker in like maybe 2 years. This is when I did play basketball. But I saw it on the shelf. I took it out. I go, let me see if the people will grade the shoe.
All right, what
are the people saying about the shoe?
I don't think you're going to like it.
I don't care. They don't like. I don't wear them anymore. So I just wanted to. This is the purpose of this.
Well, you also got to know our YouTube chat tries to be negative for laughs, but ugly, C-. Is that a big Band-Aid on the shoe? Ugly. That Velcro thing.
Question.
Yeah, that Velcro thing kills the shoe.
Well, here's the problem with this Velcro thing. Turned color. This used to be white, so now it's like off color.
There are people who like it.
It was a flaw to this shoe.
Hey, you barely wore it. How did it turn colors?
What? Over the years, just by sitting there, the air turns it.
Oh, you've had them for years.
I'm 3 years old at least.
Gotcha.
I bought these about 3 years to play basketball because I've got a narrow toe. And Mikey Miss likes to cut and move.
It's not all negative.
Crossover, dribble, cut left and right. That's how Mikey Miss plays ball. So I need the toe to cooperate.
Couple people like it, but a lot of people are saying
I don't know. I think the color scheme, like without the strap,
Better. That's better.
You like it without the strap?
Yes.
without the strap, it's a
without
better
the
shoe.
strap, so I can cut the strap off and maybe wear it casually.
I don't know. I'm not a big outside of Jordans. I'm not a big basketball shoe as a casual sneaker.
Well, it's a low-cut sneaker, though. It's not like, it's just a low-cut that you can get away with wearing. Now, I don't. I just brought it today because of the ensemble.
Now, did you use a coupon for that shoe?
No. Use a coupon, Nike.com.
Was it on discount?
No.
Mike likes his coupons.
Don't be hating on coupons.
Where did you ever get a coupon for a sneaker?
Hardly ever. Nike barely ever.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, Nike sometimes on the website will lower the price of a shoe.
I just reminded myself of something. So I watched a movie last night on Netflix talking about coupons, and it made me think of you.
It's coupons,
What'd I say?
not coupons. There's no Q in it.
It's coupons. Me and my wife actually talked about this last night. Anyway, the movie's called Queen Pins. It's based on a true story about these two women who started this whole coupon scheme
Again with the coupon.
where they started smuggling coupons out of Mexico and then they sold them online. Did you see this movie?
No.
They made millions and millions of dollars. I only got halfway through because I got tired because I put it on after the Sixers game. But I got to watch the rest. Not a bad movie. It's like, a little corny because it's kind of a comedy. Vince Vaughn's in it, Kristen Bell. But it made me think of you with the coupons. Coupons.
I say coupons too.
Let me break it down for you fellas. I want you to spell that. Write it down. Can you write something down?
No, the C-O-U makes the Q sound.
COU-PONS. If you're going to do it phonetically.
Coupon. So, are there any other words that start with C-O-U?
COU is coup because it's French.
I don't know. I'm going with coupons.
Yeah, it's too difficult. Coupons.
I don't like having to think before I say a word, having to think if I'm saying it correctly or not.
Not happening.
Well, maybe you could say it correctly in the first place.
No.
Let's go to Silver in Germantown, or that's not Sliver?
Silver.
It's Silver. Silver, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, buddy?
Man, listen. At the end of the day, right, you get rid of Jimmy Butler and you keep Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris. And now, you try to clean everything up with Paul George and Don and Maxey, which is a good draft pick. And also McCain was too. Team is not making the playoffs. If that's what they think, we're going to just try to drag ourselves into the play. If you're going to continue to treat, strategizing like that, playoffs is out. So all that 44 and whatever, try to get the 10th seed. See that every year, especially with Golden State the last couple of years. They, tried to wiggle their way in, couldn't get in. So, it's not happening, especially with Embiid. Who's the leader of this team? I want to know. That's the question I want to know, Who's going to lead this team? That's what we're lacking right now, and Jimmy Butler is a great leader, so that's what I want to know. Who's going to be the leader? Who's going to step up and be a mature professional and put all the, joking and trolling and all that stuff to the side, because the ultimate goal is to win a championship. You have to be serious about your pride, and your business.
Silver, I got you. So you're saying you're tracking the downfall with the Brett Brown, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler snafu.
Yeah, because it's like if you look back, we keep Jimmy, keep Embiid, and throw some people with him, some role players with them, because Jimmy already been to 2 championships.
Yeah, unfortunately that ship has sailed. Can't do anything about it now. But you're right. You raised an interesting point about leadership. See, Paul George could be a leader, but he's not really. He's new. He's a new guy to this whole thing, and he's just feeling his way, and he's not the same player.
Right. He's not the same PG-13 from Indiana, the one that was going to the Eastern Conference Finals and going at LeBron and all that. He's not that. He's not going to give you that.
You're right.
That's why he signed to the Sixers, so he could take a back role to, the better player, which is Embiid. But Embiid is not a good enough leader. So we need to find someone, with leadership qualities and with the talent also, because you can't just be a leader without the talent. So once we find that, this team will never.
Well, you got an idea who that is?
Well, do I have an idea?
Yeah.
In the NBA right now?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, already.
Because we can't just say find a leader. Like, when's that going to happen? Like, well, you going to draft one? Like, you have a small window here of a couple of years with the big guy. So it's unrealistic to think that you're going to have some kind of a leader. They supposedly were going to have the 2 big guys and Maxey, a budding star, and that was going to lead them. And then you just fill in the blanks. He filled in the blanks with older guys. There's no young energy that comes off the bench here except for that draft pick.
Which, if you're getting the big three giving you what you thought they were going to give you, if George, Maxey, and Embiid give you what you hoped they would give you, and you have Jared McCain, and maybe you move Kelly Oubre to the bench, and those are your bench pieces along with some of those veterans, it could work. It could work. It's just I never in my craziest imagination could have imagined that the team would look this bad under Nick Nurse, regardless of who's on the court.
By the way, how do you like your guy Caleb Martin?
What's up with his shot, man? What's up with his shot right now? Did he always shoot like this?
Yeah. Too many moving parts. He's got the leg kick going. He's herky jerky.
It's ugly, man.
You know, sometimes he's going to make a couple of those shots. Most of the time, it's not. It's too. There's too much movement. It's like a hitter with too much movement in the swing.
Any chance they win in Memphis on Wednesday night? Are we looking at 2-13 to start the year?
Who knows?
Or 2-12?
I mean, Memphis is pretty good.
So they lose that. Then Friday night they got
lost
Brooklyn.
to Memphis here, didn't they? But they didn't have Embiid playing.
Morant might be banged up, too. I don't know if he's playing.
They could win that game. 610-632-0975 back after this.
Phillies.
17. House of Jealous Lovers. I'm out of my mind.
That's pretty good.
I'm out of my mind. I'm so out of my mind that I need something to pick me up. Now, you mentioned yesterday, hey, we haven't done Give Me 3 in a while. So we have the coordinators coming up. So we'll switch it to football a little bit. So here's what we'll do for the people that don't know what Give Me 3 is. I give you a city. You got to give me 3 football names that connect to that city.
I like this game. You ever play this one, Tom?
No, it's been a while.
So I got killed the last time we played because he gave me L.A., and I went O.J. Simpson. Now,
Yeah, there's no connection to...
even though he didn't play in L.A., he played at USC, and he's probably one of the most famous cases to ever come out of L.A.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
No, and plus he's from San Francisco, so you had the wrong city anyway.
Well, where he was from, but not where he committed his alleged crimes. Anyway, we can move on. We can move on.
All right, so the game last night. Oh my God, Dallas got the roof was falling down. It's a Authority game.
Disaster.
I mean,
Dallas.
they're just a complete mess.
A disaster.
And I know people are happy about it, but I kind of I don't feel sorry for them, but I go, man, they're just so unimportant in my life. And they're 0-5 in that stadium.
I think even the Jags have won a home game this year.
Their differential's -106. It's incredible. All right, so I will give you a friend. So here's how we'll kick it off. Again, we had the coordinators. I know people are excited about the coordinators, Fangio and Kellen Moore. But if I give you Buffalo.
There we could go, OJ.
First 3 names that come to your mind.
O.J. Simpson.
Okay. Well, you got this O.J. thing going.
Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly.
And I'll go with Bruce Smith.
How about that? 3 Buffalo ones. They're pretty good, man.
Yeah, those
all
were
3
good.
of them. Now, Thurman Thomas leaked into my brain.
Yeah, Thurman Thomas. I like that.
How about this bust out? Andre Reed from Kutztown State University.
Yes, wide receiver.
Played at your level, Bill.
There it is.
Hall of Famer, right?
That's right.
Need a third.
Third? I can't say one that you gave? All right, how about this? Joe DeLamelure, the offensive lineman.
That's a pull.
That's a bust out.
That's a pull. I don't know if there's anyone left for Tom.
Yeah, I got nothing. What do you think?
Three others.
Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and...
Yeah, no, you can't.
I can't be current? You guys took all of the past ones.
Can't be current.
There's no more left.
What about
Sorry.
Marv Levy?
You could have gone Marv Levy.
The coach?
Yeah, you could have gone Marv Levy. That would have worked.
How about Stevie Johnson, the old wide receiver?
Stevie Johnson?
I don't remember him.
I don't either.
Now you don't remember him?
I don't.
Who was Stevie Johnson?
He was back, I don't know, 10 years ago or something like
They
that.
had a linebacker. It was, they had a big. Who was the linebacker? It was a really dominant player for them in the Super Bowl era. The linebacker I'm thinking of.
I don't know.
Yeah, come on. He's a big name, too.
Did Takeo Spikes play for the Bills?
He did.
He did play for the Bills.
He did.
That's
So
not
did
the linebacker I'm talking about.
LaShawn McCoy could have been one.
Kiko Alonso?
Kiko Alonso. Don Beebe.
That's pretty good.
We're getting a lot of them in the YouTube chat.
Really? Who's the linebacker?
I don't know. People are saying Darryl Talley.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Was that the linebacker?
Darryl Talley. That's who it was. Yep.
EJ Manuel?
Oh, man. They reached for that one.
Quarterback.
Jason
all right.
Peters, Marshawn Lynch, a lot of them.
There you go. So we will play that. All right. Let's move into. I don't. You see, I'm not sure how fans feel about the Sixers right now. I know a lot of them are disgruntled, but I still think a lot of them hold on to the hope.
But I said it yesterday. It's all we have. If you don't hold on to hope, then you've basically given up on this team, not only for this season, probably for the next 3. Because, look, I love Maxey. He's not good enough to build around right now. He's not going to carry your team from that position with his size. He's not going to carry him. So you still need Joel Embiid and Paul George. Mm-hmm. So you have to just hope. Because if not, if Joel is not going to get back to the dominant guy he was before this season, if this is just his reality now, you're done. You got no shot.
So here's what Embiid said yesterday. We know what it is. We know where we're at, and we know we've got to do better, which we will. It is unacceptable, and something is going to be done about it. We'll be fine.
All right.
Now, are you feeling that?
No, I'm not, because I'm more worried about Joel than I think you are. You think it's just more attitude, conditioning. I'm worried about the knee. And if the knee is an issue, no matter what they do, no matter what meetings they hold, no matter when Maxey comes back, if the knee's an issue, they're done.
The knee is the knee. The knee is always going to be the knee. The knee is not going to go away, right? He's been playing on this knee for a long time. He scored 70 points on that knee. He scored 50 in a playoff game on that knee. It's the same knee.
It is, but did something happen? I mean, they keep saying he didn't re-injure it, so you're probably right. He didn't re-injure it. That's what we were told, so I was just going to say you got to trust him, but do we really trust injury news from the Sixers right now?
Now, Nick Nurse said something that was pretty interesting again last night about the shooters. He said, we must get these guys to believe they're better shooters and better scorers than we're showing right now. Now, really? They kind of are what they are as a shooting team. We got to get these guys to believe they're better shooters? Are you going to look at Caleb Martin and say, yeah, that guy's going to find his stroke? Like, what are we looking at here?
Are they really the worst shooting team in the NBA, though? I mean, that's where they are statistically, but do we really believe that this is the worst shooting team in the NBA? They have to get better. They have to.
Listen, I warned people about Kelly Oubre. I got something about him I don't trust. That's why he's been passed around the league. Well, they had to have Kelly Oubre. They re-signed him. He looks like a shell of a player right now.
I want to ask you.
He's so disengaged. It's not even funny. Look at Kelly Oubre. Does he make any difference at all right now?
No. Was he in the starting five last night or no? No, he wasn't.
He came off the bench.
So he's probably not happy. Let me ask you a question, because it's along the lines of Oubre. Because coming in, I thought it would be your starting five: Maxey, Oubre, Caleb Martin, Paul George, Joel. Is there any reality where they could figure out a way for McCain and Maxey to be on the floor at the same time?
Well, yeah, they'll try it.
But are they going to be too much of a liability on the defensive side of the
Well, what's the alternative? Kyle Lowry? Listen, this is, again, I like Kyle Lowry's had a great career. Come on now. Now, you got to play Jeff Doughton as a backup point guard? Really?
It's a young up-and-coming star, Jeff Doughton.
What does anybody see in Jeff Doughton? I'm trying to figure it out.
That guy did not respond back on the text board,
He
unfortunately.
looks scared to death out there, Jeff Doughton. He reminds me of how Isaiah Joe looked when he was here. Just scared to death.
Oh, man.
All right, let's go to Felix in Northeast Philly. Felix, you're on 97.5 Fanatic. Felix.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
What's up, Felix?
Let's go get Tony Wotan back from the progress. Or the
Tony,
process.
what do you think Tony's doing right now?
Well, he's probably watching TV.
Maybe he's overseas.
Jerry Springer.
Maybe overseas somewhere.
Yeah. So when they signed Paul George, I knew that, it's too good to be true. Obviously, they had money to spend, and, they did that to show the fan base that they're trying. But look where we're at. Would you pay that kind of money for Paul George, knowing that we're 2-11?
Listen. They probably had no.
I mean, that's where we're at.
They had no alternative. But here's the thing that I dislike about Morey, because he's oblivious to the fact that when guys get to be that age, and he didn't learn his lesson with Harden. Like
right.
He looks at Paul George as, okay, I'm getting 24 at Paul George. Like, the guys change. They're not the same player after a while.
You're right. But what was the alternative? Have money on the books for who?
No, I guess there was no alternative. But again, then you add older role players. It's like you made your team older.
That's true, but I mean, who else could he have gotten?
Well, I don't know. He's savvy. He's supposed to be a general manager who's savvy. Everybody else seems to have young energy coming off the bench. Why the Sixers don't?
Well, they're busy worrying about building downtown, I guess. I don't know. But it's just
The general manager's not worried about building downtown. The general manager's got to scope out the league and add young energy to his team. Well, I mean, what is he going to get out of Eric Gordon and Reggie Jackson and guys like that? Kyle Lowry. I mean, come on.
Yeah, listen, I get it. I agree with you. I just don't know what the alternative would have been.
The alternative is do your frickin' job. That's what the alternative is, Felix. I'm not the general manager of the team. They got 74 assistant general managers. You think one of them could figure out that they need young energy?
Yeah, I agree. I just don't. Like, I'm trying to see what the NBA had when they signed Paul George as to what we have now. And you're right. Like, look what the Knicks did. They had to give up to get Cat because they knew they couldn't get anyone else. They had to trade. So maybe that's what we have to do. Trade.
Cat's a lot younger than Paul George.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
All right, man. Let's play Give Me Three with you.
Please.
All right. Give me 3 football names. Miami.
Okay, we're going to go. I'll go Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
And then football.
Yeah, he's football. Running back. We're going to go Dan Marino, and we're going to go Chris Chambers.
Dude, you flunked. Get out of here. Are you kidding me?
Wait,
The great players that play Miami?
yeah, and he
Don
said,
Shula, for crying out loud.
I mean, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar poll.
Yeah, I don't get
Can't
that.
give me Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I mean, he's great.
Chris
The
Chambers?
guy did play running back, but he wasn't like
He got 1 of 3. He got Marino.
exceptional.
All the great players. Come on.
Yeah, there's a ton.
610-632-0975. On the other side, we get the coordinators. And also now he said to Dan Marino, there's another Italian quarterback starting this weekend for the Giants.
Tommy Cutlets, baby.
Tommy DeVito.
Tommy
He's
Cutlets.
back in. Let's talk Italian quarterbacks after this. 6320975. Call or text. We're going to play Give Me Three right now. We got the coordinators coming up. And Bill and I just got on this tangent about Italian quarterbacks since Dan Marino was brought up. So I got my bust-out top 5. Tom, how we doing on the coordinators? Are they there yet?
Yeah, Fangio's ready whenever.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then let's do that, and then we'll come back to our Italian quarterbacks since we go to an Italian defensive coordinator right now. Here's Vic Fangio.
You're playing somebody this week that maybe it's not in your division, you haven't played in a while, and you want to call somebody that has more familiarity with them. You know, Jim and I would do that back and forth, with each other, me for him, him for me. And so got to know him that way. And, we had what I would consider a very good professional relationship and kind of saw the game the same way to a degree.
Anything significant you took from what he did?
Nothing that I can remember. Things have changed so much since then. When was Jim's last season here? Was 08, yeah. I can't remember. I'm sure there was, though.
On that 4th and 2 stop, what was the key?
Just guys being where they were supposed to be was the main thing, and making the plays. It helped early that he bobbled the snap on his own. Jalen got some penetration, which made the bobble even more, and it helped us.
A guy who doesn't get talked about often, Reed Blankenship, comes up with obviously big interceptions late in games. What has he kind of meant, for the secondary so far this season?
Yeah, he specializes in those low diving on the low line drives in center field. You know what I mean? It's amazing how all 3 of his picks have looked the same. He's done a good job. He quarterbacks the secondary, leads the communication between them and the linebackers. So he's very, very valuable.
When you have such a young defense, what are the biggest concerns you have, and especially as you get deeper into the season with a young second, really all 3 levels you have young guys?
Yeah, nothing really. Back in the day, you used to hear rookies hitting the rookie wall. I don't think that rookie wall exists anymore, because back in the day, you'd have 2-a-days in training camp. And when you got a rookie that you thought would play, you'd practice him a lot. He'd play a lot in preseason games when there was 4. Well, that don't happen anymore. So I don't buy the rookie wall anymore. It's not physical. It might be mental or emotional, but it's not physical anymore, in my opinion.
What about the teaching aspect with the youth? How much has that changed over the years, or
The teaching,
teaching just your scheme when you get younger players as opposed to experienced players? Has that changed or not?
not really. It's just a process, and you have to keep at it and not get discouraged when they don't get something early. I can remember times where young players where I told them they had to see it a certain way, and they said, man, that's hard. How am I going to do that? And then a month or two later, they see it, and I say, hey, nice job on that. He said, oh, yeah, that's easy. I said, well, you remember a month or so ago you told me that was too hard, you know? It's a process. It comes with practice and playing, and you can't get discouraged when they don't see it the right way early on.
What was the key area of development you were looking for out of Nolan Smith, and what do you see as kind of his trajectory now?
Yeah, Nolan's been doing well. Obviously, speed and athleticism is his forte, and which is good. We need that. And he's been able to offset his, kind of being small for an edge position to really work on being physical enough to play the run, playing his blocks. And I think him and Wash has done a good job with him to get to where he's competitively good enough to play the run.
There are times when, sometimes at this point in the season, especially when there's sustained success, it seems like some teams take on a personality, or at least groups do. Do What's the sense you get out of the defense at this point, and is that something that you try and foster?
No, I think anything along those ways kind of happen organically, and I don't try and do anything one way or the other.
Do you think too much is made of you playing a lot of two high safety shows when it seems like this season, I mean, you've kind of mixed in a lot of single high and you played a lot, maybe a little more man than you have. Is that narrative a fair one in terms of how you call your schemes?
I don't know. You know, every game's a new adventure, and you major in certain things in certain games. So, you know, it's more of a game-by-game thing than a seasonal.
Nick, what are the challenges with Puka and Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, two really good receivers. They really have good karma, both of them, with Stafford. They're strong at the catch point. Both of them are strong receivers. Both are excellent runners after the catch. And, you know, they had played, I don't know how many games, but more than a few without either one of them. You know, for them to be at this point in the season with the injuries they've had speaks highly of their players and their coaching staff. And, you know, now they're back pretty much to full strength offensively, and they'll be a tough group to defend.
All right. Makes sense. Thanks.
All right, that's Vic Fangio. He was a little more revealing today. I liked it.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I thought he was a little more revealing. He had interesting things to say about, you know, Blankenship like a center fielder.
I like when he answers questions like,
Smith.
what was the key to that fourth down stop? Mm-hmm. Players were in the right spots.
Players were in the right spot. Yeah, he does a lot of that.
Yeah.
But, and he said, well, what's the difference between 100% and 90%? That was posted. But, yeah, I like it.
Dude.
I actually think they can lose to the Rams. Now, I know you're all high on them as a Super Bowl contender. I think this could be
I don't know, Mike.
I think this could be a trouble spot.
So before the show, I dove deep into the numbers.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, for the Rams. And they've really struggled this year. I mean, they lost their defensive coordinator, Raheem Morris, who became the head coach for the Falcons. The defense hasn't looked good. I mean, they're in 23rd in yards against, 22nd in points against, 22nd in passing yards against, 18th in rushing yards against. They're middle of the pack on third down.
But this is a weird league. And teams, for some reason, that you don't expect step up. What's the line like? You know, we have a line.
It was 3.5. Let me see what
Eagles,
it is.
3.5?
Yeah. Let me see if that's moved. Look, the concern is it's a road game. You got to travel west. You got the Ravens the week after. I just don't think with the extended rest that the Eagles had going up against a Rams team that hasn't been that great this season, they're 5-5. I just don't think that they lose this game. It's down to 2.5.
Yeah, I think this could be a loss. I don't know.
Down to 2.5. But we just heard from Fangio.
Yeah.
I mean, really, this is insane. I was looking at the numbers from last season to this season. They were 26 in yards per game allowed. They're first right now. They were 30th in points allowed. They're sixth. They were 31st in passing yards allowed. They're second. They were 31st on third down. They're eighth. They were 30th in the red zone. They're fifth. And since they went on the bye and they've had this nice winning streak, they're first in all those categories. It's incredible the change in this defense. And it's not all Vic Fangio.
No, you know, you're right. He's done a good job. You know, we were questioning early. At least I was questioning early. Well, but evidently it took a while. And, you know, you were saying that early. It takes a while for those coordinators to take root. And it looks like both of them right now have taken root.
It's been very impressive, man. Very impressive. And that's why, from our conversation yesterday, there's no reason they wouldn't be able to beat the Lions in the NFC Championship. Now, they got to get there, and so do the Lions. But, and I don't know if you saw, I did a little, they clipped a part of our show talking about would you take Goff or Hurts. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, that blew up on Twitter yesterday.
Yeah, I'm sure most people took Hurts.
It's pretty even back and forth.
Really?
It's pretty even back and forth. But it's amazing to me how many fans out there came at me and said, well, you can't include total yards. Just look at passing yards. You can't include total touchdowns. Just look at passing touchdowns. Well, why not?
Yeah, no, that's a dimension. that a certain quarterback would have. Like, you're not going to include that with Lamar Jackson either?
Yeah, or like the example I gave, are you going to eliminate Christian McCaffrey's receiving yards because he's a running back?
No, that's
yards are yards.
It's very important what a quarterback can do with his legs in this league, in this day and age.
And that's why I'm taking Jalen.
All right. And that's fair. That's fair. I just look at who's the more qualified MVP candidate at this point. I think it's Goff.
Well, because their team's 9-1. But we'll see. They're going to give it. I hate that the MVP award has become a quarterback award given to whatever team is the number one seed. Because it's just not. Well, I guess when you're talking about most valuable, of course, the quarterback on every team is most valuable.
Yeah.
So they basically give it best team, that quarterback.
All right. While we're waiting for Kellen Moore, let's just fiddle around here. And since Bill and I are both of the Italian persuasion, we feel an immense pride in Tommy DeVito being the starting quarterback for the Giants this week. And like I was the same with Ben DiNucci. We have two stiffs who are now starting games in the NFL. Right?
What do you think about the Giants paying Drew Lock this summer to be the backup and then just skipping over them and going to Cutlets?
Tommy Cutlets look better in practice, Holmes.
Tommy Cutlets.
There you go. Woo. All right, so the top 5 quarterbacks. Italian
quarterbacks.
1, Joe Money.
I got him number 1, too.
Number 2, Danny Marino.
Yep, same.
Number 3, surprising, Joe Flacco.
That's my number 3. Look, I got the same list.
Joey Flacco. Number 4, are you ready? Vinny Testaverde.
Michael.
Oh, we got
Spot
the same
on.
ones.
Now, number 5 may be different.
All right, my number 5 was Dan Pastorini.
Now, I don't even remember that guy.
Of course you don't. Well, look him up. And he's got better numbers than your number 5. I got news for you.
Let's see. Dan Pastorini.
Houston Oilers.
It's a good Italian name.
Dan Pastorini.
Did he ever win a Super Bowl?
No.
Oh,
But he put up some numbers.
Dan Pastorini, 56-61 in his career, 103 touchdowns, 161 interceptions.
Oof.
My number 5.
Oh, no, Jimmy G.
Yes, sir.
No, he's a better. Pastorini's got better numbers than Jimmy G.
Garoppolo, 43-20, 94 touchdowns, 51 interceptions. I'm taking Jimmy G over Pastorini.
Maybe he gets the nod. Maybe I'm partial to Pastorini because he came and peed next to me in a urinal.
Yeah, did you peek over?
No, he was blasted. I forget where it was, right? And he was just he was just stumbling around. And so I get to the urinal and I look, I take a quick glance at who just arrived next to me, and it's Dan Pastorini, and he goes,
no,
yes.
In the urinal.
In the urinal.
Now, how many urinals were there?
There were two.
And so he came up right next to you.
He came right.
Was there an open stall? Because you told me that was a violation when I came next to you.
I don't remember if it was an open stall or not. I know this guy, he was out of his mind, blasted. And I look, I guess, Dan Pastorini.
Oh, man.
The stuff I remember, man.
The stuff you remember.
Stuff I remember.
I can't believe we went 4 for 4 with our top 4 Italian
How about that?
QBs.
Yeah.
So you put Joe Montana above Dan Marino. I do, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because of the Super Bowls.
Right. Yeah, you have to. But I got some honorable mentions too. You right? Vince Ferragamo.
I don't remember him.
Los Angeles Rams. Went to Nebraska. And Steve Bono.
The singer?
Norristown kid.
Oh, that was Sonny Bono.
Steve Bono played for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, I remember him now.
Name's from Norristown.
Yes, I remember him now. Who else do we got? You got Bailey Zappi. He's currently playing.
Bailey Zappi. Is he Italian?
He's on the list. I just looked up Italian quarterback.
So Italian, I guess Zeppeli. So you got. I was wondering.
But Bailey doesn't seem like an Italian first name.
No, his mother was Irish.
Bailey Zappi. Tom, you got any Italian in you or no?
No, not at all, actually. Polish and Irish.
I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, Kellen Moore will be all set up for us on the Mike Missanelli Show on 97.5 Fanatic. Delaware Valley. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Boy, we were really fired up a little earlier, but the Sixers will get re-fired up, but we're touching on football right now. And the offensive coordinator, I know everybody likes to play this game with the offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, counting the times he says obvious. But within that, there are some kernels of nuggets about the Eagles' offense and the way it's running. So let's get to the offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore.
All those situations.
Y'all got to the 36 when you called the trick play. Why'd you think at that point that was the time to pull the trigger?
Yeah, just an earned first down. Obviously, anytime those don't go well, obviously you feel like it's dumb play call. And so, earned first down, left hash. Sometimes it's you're chasing a specific hash to try and get to that play call. And once we cross the 50, try and be aggressive there, see if we can get it, and if not, play out the situation the rest of the way. And obviously turned into big negative play and, cost us an opportunity.
I understand the yards that could be lost on a play like that. Do you take into account like being in field goal range still?
Yeah, certainly. I think that was thought process. Obviously, felt like there was an opportunity there. We kind of been hanging on that for a few weeks, and so, fortunately, obviously poor play call on my end. We were able to kind of dig ourselves out, at least put ourselves in position to try and steal some points out of that drive. Credit to our guys on second and third down and getting completions. But, obviously didn't work.
The last few games especially, but maybe even overall, Jalen struggled early and then he starts to get going. Have you guys identified what some of those issues early in the games have been for him?
I think for all of us, we're trying to play cleaner football at the beginning of the game, and for me, it's always the rhythm of the play calls and how can we get ourselves into it, because again, we have a really good opening drive as far as we're moving it, and then we kind of get into some situational football down high red zone, just outside the red zone. Then we kind of get stalled out, and some penalties knock us out. And so I think it's critical for us to get clean rushes, completions as much as we can early in the game. And so it's something that for all of us, we're all trying to get better in that aspect, not just Jalen. I think every single one of us, we're trying to play faster, play cleaner football in the first quarter, because once we get into our rhythm, we tend to play pretty well in those middle two quarters.
Kellen, when you run the ball 40 times a game, there's not that many passes.
Mm-hmm.
Receivers don't like that. What are the conversations like? I mean, because this is kind of your identity ever since the bye. You run it 40, 45 times a game. Do you have to take extra time to talk to Devontae, Dallas, AJ about, look, there's just not going to be that many targets?
The beauty of what we have on offense, we got a lot of really talented players, and they all deserve opportunities in these games. And so, in the pass game, when you have a game like that where you have a lot of rushing attempts and not as many passing opportunities, naturally those guys aren't going to get as many touches probably as they deserve and have earned. But I think those guys, you're constantly in conversation about those opportunities eventually present themselves. Again, like we said, not every game are we going to be able to rush 40, 45 attempts. We'd love to. But there's going to come different games and different styles, and that's the beauty of the NFL, that every week's a different challenge, and there's going to come a time we're going to have to sling it around and make some plays in some critical situations, and those guys will be ready.
What's it like preparing for Rams defense without Aaron Donald, and how are they different without him?
I think they've done an excellent job of kind of evolving this year, building off of the scheme that they've had in place for a number of years. Credit to them, as Aaron has left and they've transitioned into a little bit of a different structure, just because what they have on defense line, I think they have, a really, really talented defense line. A bunch of young guys that are playing extremely well, high level. They give you a lot of different looks, a lot of different presentations, which can be challenging throughout the week, just as you get comfortable anticipating going against these guys. And so I think these guys are playing really, really good football right now. They've been playing really well coming out of their bye week. You can tell they took advantage of a bye week, and they're playing as well as anyone.
Piggybacking off of that, what have you seen from Jared Verse that has led to his early success so far?
Yeah, relentless motor, premier player in this league. I think, you definitely see it. And him and a number of the other guys on the defensive line, they're doing a really, really good job. And they're getting after the quarterback, pressuring him. I think they're doing a really good job in the run as far as utilizing their fronts and kind of stuffing out the run game. And so this will be a big-time challenge for us.
You think with how successful you guys have been on the ground since the bye, that teams would start focusing more on stopping that. Have you seen that? Did you see that last week against Washington?
Certainly, anytime you're rushing attempts for that high, naturally, I think it'll be a focus for defenses. Obviously, we just have to play a good adjustment football. We got to understand the teams are going to give you different challenges, different presentations. We got to be able to adjust throughout the game. I thought Washington, credit to those guys. I thought they did an excellent job. They made some adjustments coming into our game on a short week, gave us some looks that we hadn't seen previously by them, and I think our guys did a really, really good job of, as the game went, just hang in there, hang with it, make the adjustments we need to make, and then able to make some plays as the game progressed.
You were teammates with Matthew Stafford in Detroit as his teammate 10 years ago.
Yeah.
What did you see from him then that allowed him to have longevity and success in this league?
Matthew's just one of the premier quarterbacks in this league. I was fortunate to be around him for a few years in Detroit. I think what I always learned so much from him when I was in the room with him was just how much work went into it during the week. I think, Matthew's preparation is very rare. The work he puts into it, just the amount of film he watches. I think he's got an excellent feel for the game. His ability to make adjustments at the line of scrimmage and kind of control the whole operation is very rare. And so, certainly I learned a lot, being around him for those first couple of years, and obviously he's continued for a number of years.
On the topic of having specific packages for specific players, it seemed like there was a thing in this game with Jahan on those orbit motions.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you put in for the game itself, or is that something that has sort of been waiting all season long?
It's been utilized a few other times with Jahan. I think obviously that game we just made the decision that felt like it presented itself and gave us an opportunity. I think just like our other receivers, we think really highly of Jahan, and so anytime we can get those guys on the field, give them opportunities, we feel like he's been able to take advantage of a number of these, and so we felt like it was just a different presentation to help us, and he does a nice job with playing that space game.
Like Anais Smith on the jet sweeps.
Anais, again, just giving guys different roles and different opportunities, and I think Anais, obviously going back to his role in college and some of the space game that he has played, he does a really nice job with that. And so, the last couple weeks we've kind of put him in that type of role, and we'll just let those roles always adjust and evolve as the season goes on, and we'll see. And I think for him coming off of IR and hopping in and kind of having that role in that package, he's embraced it and he's done a nice job, and so we'll see where it takes us.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there you go. Kellen Moore. A lot of obviously.
Yeah, I lost count. And our normal tally in the chat isn't there. We usually have a guy, Andrew, in our YouTube chat who tallies them up. So hopefully someone stepped up. I'll let you know when we get
there. Yeah, he never says much. I think Fangio says a little more than Kellen Moore. I wonder about Kellen Moore. He was a very successful college quarterback.
Yeah, Boise State, right?
Yeah, he was 50-3. He's the all-time winningest college football coach, back-to-back undefeated years, right? And you wonder, like, a guy who could diagnose an offense and be good enough to diagnose an offense and be an offensive coordinator in the league, why he wasn't that successful as a pro quarterback. He had the pedigree, right, threw for a zillion yards. He was the all-time winningest coach. He obviously has an offensive mind. Like, what was missing?
It's a good question. I mean, he's not a very tall guy, but we've seen other quarterbacks.
Tall enough, isn't he?
He's listed at 6 feet. He's listed at 6 feet.
Is that all he is?
Yeah, that's what he's listed at. But,
okay, well, then that's probably it.
I mean, Jalen's only listed at 6'1".
Yeah, well, he looks taller to me.
But, yeah, I think that's probably what it is. But he's definitely a genius when it comes to I think they used to call him, like, boy wonder or whatever. But they knew right away that he could become a coach. When he was a quarterback, they then moved him right to coach. I think that's why he retired, right? He just went right into coaching. But I think
did he play in the NFL?
Yeah, 3 games he played.
He played. Well, who did he play with?
Well, he was with the Lions and he was with the Cowboys. I think he started. He played 2 games with the Cowboys in 2015. He went 0-2, 4 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. But I think it was the Lions that drafted him, right? But I'm looking.
I don't remember, but I'm just kidding. It must be the side. He threw for 14,667 yards and was 50-3.
Okay, he was undrafted coming out of college. He signed with
unbelievable.
But he signed with the Lions, and he was there for 3 years, and then he went to Dallas for 3.
He was undrafted with those numbers.
Undrafted.
I mean, that's mind-boggling because quarterback. A lot worse quarterbacks are drafted than Kellen Moore these days, aren't they?
Yeah, these days. My high school football coach is checking in on Kellen Moore.
Okay.
Saying didn't have the measurables, and his competition wasn't the SEC. That's why he was able to put up all those stats.
I get it, but what was Josh Allen's competition?
True, but Josh Allen's measurables are there.
Okay.
Right? He's big.
Right.
I think when you got a small guy like Kellen Moore, and he's not playing up against the greatest of competition.
Yeah, I didn't realize that he was that small. All right,
well,
in any event,
well, he answered the question about the trick play. That was a terrible decision at that point in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what happens with trick plays. I didn't love it. I don't love that him and Sirianni decided to do it there. But when it works, you scream about it. Oh, look how smart that was.
Yeah.
But you don't take the risk of a negative play like that.
No, I don't think you need to do junky plays like that.
But he did mention something in his presser that I think maybe we've glossed over. We haven't dove deep into the Rams game yet, but them losing Aaron Donald's huge.
Yeah.
That guy, I mean, you're talking about one of the greatest defensive tackles of all time decides to hang him up last year, and they lost their defensive coordinator. That's a big reason why the defense hasn't been as good as it's been.
In fact, Nick Sirianni addressed that, Tom. Nick Sirianni talked about the Rams defense without Aaron Donald. This would be Nick Sirianni 5, Tommy. You got that? All right, here we go.
They still have really good players. Any good player keeps you up. Not that I'm sad that Aaron Donald is not going to be there, but they got a good defensive line. Chris is doing a great job of lead, and Sean are doing a good job of leading that defense. You know, we're early in our studies. You know, obviously had some more time to study them, but a lot of our time was devoted towards self-scout and then early studies on to the Rams. But we're early on with those things. But, yeah, Chris has put his spin on defense, and they're playing well. It's a good football team. We're going to have a challenge this weekend.
Wait, Sean Lee is one of their coaches? Did he say Sean Lee?
I thought he said Chris. I thought he's talking about Chris Shula as their defensive coordinator.
Didn't he say Sean Lee?
I didn't hear Sean Lee.
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, let me see. I'll look it up for you. Sean Lee.
Penn State, right?
Yeah, Penn State. He played linebacker for the Cowboys. I thought I heard him say Sean Lee there. Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
No, yeah, he's not.
Is he an assistant? No?
No, he's not with their team.
Okay.
But they do have Chris Shula.
Yeah.
Which I guess is son of Don Shula,
yes,
right?
It is son of Don Shula.
Yeah, you know what we got coming up next?
We got the news at noon.
With Tom Albert today.
Tom Albert today. At 12 o'clock hour, by the way, brought to us by Service First Heating and Air Conditioning, where you can get 0% financing for 72 months, $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com. After the break, news at noon.
D-Lineup.
Mike Missanelli Show. Well. An important story just dropped. Tyrese Maxey challenged Joel Embiid in 76ers meeting. We talked about that meeting after the game last night where the Sixers got hammered by the Miami Heat. It was in the meeting. This is a sham story. In the meeting, Maxey challenged Embiid to be on time to team activities, calling out the former league MVP about being late, quote, for everything, and how it impacts the locker room from other players to the coaching staff. A person involved in the meeting is quoted as saying, quote, Tyrese loves big fella, but this is the elephant in the room. Oh, boy.
Not good.
Oh, boy. So my assertion has always been that Embiid is just not interested right now because they created a narrative for him not to be interested, and he's carrying it to the hilt. He's buying into it. And so part of that is, I'm not interested enough to not be on time. This is really a blockbuster story because it involves their star player. And I said earlier in this show that he's losing his cachet with the fan base because he's the man, right? He steps to the line, MVP. Now, he's losing his cachet because he's constantly feeling sorry for himself, but he's also not dedicated to this part of the season. Because they allowed him to do it.
Yeah, this isn't going to help him with the fan base being late for everything.
All right, we're gonna talk about this with a lot of folks, but right now, let's give our man Tommy a shout out with the news at noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, gentlemen. Well, let's take a break from the dumpster fire that is the Philadelphia 76ers.
Which became more of a hot fire,
More
by the way.
gasoline on that fire. All right, let's go to another dumpster fire in the NFL. That is the Dallas Cowboys, and you guys touched on this a little while ago. The Cowboys dropped their fifth straight game in a Monday night matchup with the Houston Texans. They lost 34-10. It was not competitive. Cowboys are the only team in the four major sports leagues to have not won a home game in 2024. And it's not just a disaster on the field, but off it as well, because the stadium is falling apart. Take a listen to Monday Night Countdown last night as we get an update from debris falling off of the roof of Cowboys Stadium.
We are going to talk to Lisa Salters a little later about Dallas, but she joins us right off the top, as the top here in AT&T Stadium is something of a story. Lisa, what can you tell us?
Yes, Scott. Well, it was a bizarre series of events that happened here at AT&T Stadium about 45 minutes or so ago. I was standing in this exact spot getting ready to do a hit for SportsCenter when bits of debris started falling from the sky. They were opening the roof here, and you could see just big chunks of what looked like dust, paper, plastic, and then all of a sudden this came down out of the sky. A big piece of metal just kind of floated down and fell onto the field. Again, this happened when they started opening the roof here.
All right, Lisa, something we didn't anticipate we would be keeping a literal eye on. Thankfully, we have a roof over our heads here. No joke, that's a big chunk of metal.
Scott, the bottom then already fell out in Dallas. The top might as well, too.
That's a great line, man. That's a great line by Ryan Clark. They didn't laugh, and I was watching that when he said that. And they didn't laugh enough at that line. Come on, Jason Kelce. That's a hysterical line.
Kelce
Jason
was the only one that laughed. I feel he barely did.
It was mild. It was a mild laughter. That's a good line.
With Dan Snyder selling the Commanders, the Cowboys have now become the Commanders. A crappy stadium that's falling apart, a bad owner that gets involved that prevents them from winning. Are the Cowboys now the basement of the NFC East? I guess you still got the Giants, but at least they have good ownership.
Yeah,
John Mara.
I didn't even care. Like I said before,
you don't even care about
the
it.
Dallas Cowboys are irrelevant to me.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, I don't get involved in it.
What else you got, Tommy?
All right, real quick, obviously, Jalen Hurts was on Good Morning America today, and Hurts has had himself a nice season on the field coming off of the big Thursday night win over the Commanders. That's now 6 in a row, and he joined Good Morning America to talk about his new foundation to get air conditioners in Philly schools. At the end of the interview, he was asked by Michael Strahan, I believe it was, if the Eagles would be playing in this year's Super Bowl. And Jalen Hurts gave a very Jalen Hurts answer.
For all those Eagles fans who are watching, for our stage manager, Brad, who wore his special Eagles shirt in here today, are the Eagles going to the Super Bowl this year?
Let's take it one game at a time. Let's take it one game at a time.
Good answer.
It's been a fun year. It's been a lot of different things that we've had to overcome, and there's so much more out there for us to do. And so we just want to take it a moment at a time, and hopefully in that we can rack up these the touchdowns for AC.
Keep racking up those touchdowns. Love watching you play. Love that you're taking care of my guy Saquon Barkley over as well. Great to see him doing well.
Yeah, that's another way of saying keeping the main thing the main thing. Keep the main thing the main thing. Boom.
Hey, Saquon. Michael Strahan, thanks for taking care of my guy.
He's taking care of us, too.
How's Saquon his guy?
Giants. The whole Giant thing.
Okay. All right, next.
All right, last one here real quick. Finally, we get to talk a little bit about a fall from grace. John Calipari was at one point one of the top coaches in all of college basketball, leading one of the most dominant programs in the country. He now resides in Arkansas, where his team is barely beating teams like Troy, like Pacific, and they're also having some issues filling the home stadium. It has gotten so bad that Calipari is pleading to Arkansas fans, please come to our games.
Thank you all for being in the rain and coming to this game. And I'm going to say this for everybody listening. If you have tickets and you're not going to use them, I guess you could go online and give them to the university.
Absolutely.
They'll give them away. Or even better yet, give them to your neighbor. Here, do you want to go to an Arkansas game? Think about the Kansas game, what that game was like, because 50% of the building were people who could never get in the building. And it was made their month being able to be in there and enjoy that. So don't sit on tickets. Either give them away or we'll give them away.
Fall from grace.
Well, no, they're gonna build a power there. I mean, he took almost his whole team from Kentucky over there. They can't be that bad, are they?
They've been bad this year.
They'll be fine. He'll recruit there, but maybe Italian in Arkansas. I don't know. Maybe it's taking a little while to get used to shifty Cal.
You think he's getting good gravy out there?
No, that's the one thing he's not getting. Is good gravy. All right, that is the news at noon. All right, let's get back to this story. In case you're just tuning in, this story that has just broken about the meeting that we talked about after the game yesterday, where it was a disgrace, frankly, and it continues the demise of the Philadelphia 76ers. And what I see is a very uninterested Joel Embiid. And I connect the dots with that because they allowed that malaise to start this whole season where it was more important to preserve him than for him to actually play. So, therefore, the need to be ready to start a very important season with not a lot of new players wasn't there. And Embiid's played it out to the hilt. And so, yesterday, after the game, in a meeting, apparently, Tyrese Maxey got on Embiid for being late to things and setting a bad tone for the team. Bill, your thoughts?
This is not a good look, man, for a team that's 2-11 and trying to find their way. My bigger question is how does this get leaked? Like, none of the local beat reporters had it, so someone had to give this to Shams. Now, is this an intentional leak by the team? Did they want this out there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. See, here's the problem with this. They created the malaise, and now the malaise has gotten out of control. So now they have to salvage it. So little leaky to Shams who puts it out there.
Now you got me even more annoyed with Joel's comment that we played earlier, which was, they're meeting and laughing. Because the meeting was about you. The meeting was about Joel.
Interesting. So now they've thrown up their hands. They can't control the guy now. So let's try the media.
This is bad, man. This season is spiraling. Look, how do you think he responds? How do you think Joel responds? Do you think he's a motivated Joel from here on out?
What do you think?
I don't know. I legitimately don't know.
What has he done more than be motivated?
Sulk.
Exactly.
But now it's coming. But now it's coming from
Maxie.
Maxie.
I've done for this city. You're gonna do this to me?
But now it's coming from Maxie. It's not coming from us.
And right now, and this is where he ran the risk, where he's lost his cachet. Right now, Maxie's got more clout than he does with the fan base.
And it was also reported Maxie's coming back this week, either Wednesday or Friday.
610-632-0975. Let's see how the people feel about it after this. the Mike Missanelli Show. This situation is, it's not that much different than how I opened the show. When I said that Embiid is a guy now he's feeling constantly sorry for himself. They allowed him to come into a season the way he wanted to, which is just ramp up, Joel. Don't worry about it. Be permissive. We'll be permissive to you ramping up because it's more important. The storyline is more important that you're healthy for the playoffs. It was a bad mindset, and it was a mindset that creeped me out early. And so now it has evolved into, okay, he's late for stuff. So he's showing a general malaise for the season, buying into the fact, well, I just have to show up for the playoffs because they're allowing me to do that. And so when he loses his cachet with the fan base, before this even happened, I said, you know what his response will be? They don't appreciate me here. I went out.
Yeah, and I'm reading more of this article, and it says, Embiid accepted the messages sent in the meeting, sources said, but he stated he's confused about what the 76ers are attempting to execute sometimes on the court. So now, why have a but? Hey, Joel, you're late for everything. It's sending a bad message to the team. But I'm confused about what we're trying to do.
What do you mean we're confused what you're trying to do? You look at the way you're playing. You're not participating. Like what are they supposed to do? Like you said you got to be more assertive. Well, then why weren't you assertive yesterday? Go in a block and duel with Bam. like score on Bam inside. That's how you can set a tone. The whole thing about him is that he's always got something to deflect from his personal responsibility.
This is a bad look, man. Fans were already angry about the 2-11 start, and now we got this coming out. I mean, good for Maxey. I'm happy that Maxey stepped up and says something. It is surprising, though, and that's why I asked, who do you think leaked this to Shams? Because you think it was the team.
Well, of course it was the team. Shams gets everything from general managers or agents or whatever. They use him. He's the sound. They throw it out there. When they need to put a point out there, who do they go to? They go to that guy.
They go to Shams. Yeah, it's not any of the local guys.
He throws it out there.
None of the local guys got it.
So, in other words, the team is afraid to challenge him. So, let's do it this way, where his own teammate challenged him, and then it got leaked by the team.
Yeah, the team wanted it out there. But now I'm actually feeling a little bad for Nick Nurse because all those times he's getting put up there at the podium having to answer questions about Joel and trying to spin and doing all these things.
Well, don't you think he wanted it out there too?
I'm sure he did.
Maybe it was his idea.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said I feel bad that Nurse was up there trying to defend all this stuff. But look, we're going to learn a lot now about Joel because how does he respond to this?
It's the same old thing with him, though. Remember when Shaq and Charles challenged him and he said, you guys are right. And he did that for a while. And then it's like, now he's back to this. So he'll do it for a little while. Yeah. He'll say the right things. He'll say, I got to be more assertive. They're right. I can't be. I got to set a tone. But how do you do that this late in your career? How do you not know, as such an important player that he is, to do the most fundamental things, which is just be on top, be engaged. Maybe the way you're engaged, be on time. If you're being late for something that sends a bit, he doesn't know that by now as a veteran player. Come on, man.
He should, man. He should. And look, we were trying to give him the benefit of the doubt about was he out of shape when he came to camp. And I said, well, maybe there was something with the knee. Either way, whether it's an injury, whether it's he's out of shape, all of that, you can be on time. You could show good leadership. You could support your teammates. The fact that a team meeting was needed for him to be called out on this, yeah, it's a bad look for Joel, but how does the organization not tell him, be on time tomorrow, Joel? Why did they need to have a meeting for this?
Maybe they do. He's going to do anything. The guys like that can do anything they want, and he's taken advantage of the fact that he's this star player, and he knows it, and they need him, and all that stuff. Otherwise, personal responsibilities for great players would be the survey situation after the Olympics. Say this is important. We've got all these new players. I got Paul George, who I lobbied for. Don't you think he can absorb the responsibility of being in shape, being less weighty. Like this is what I don't get. And they allowed him to do it, and you allowed him to do it. Damn it! Really, this is what makes me nuts about fans that went along with this whole thing.
I was on board.
What are you complaining about, Mike? It's more important for him to be ready for the playoffs. Really?
Yeah.
Now look at what you got.
But, Mike, I understand where you're going with this. But I was on board with load management, and I understand what you're saying is being permissive of load management resulted in this type of attitude to start the season. But I also think that that's a big leap. A player can say, all right, I'm going to try to load manage myself so that I'm healthy for the playoffs, but still be on time, still be in shape, still show aggressiveness on the court. I don't think that you can say, well, because we told him it's okay to be load managed, then we gave him free reign to be late and out of shape.
Forget the late part. Where is the responsibility to be ready for a season? This is what I'm getting to. Everybody looked at it like that's not important for him to be ready for the season. And I said just the opposite. Here's why it's important. Because you got to forge a bond of team.
I understand all of that.
Now, I hate you right now. Because
I know.
you bought into it.
Because I'm the only one here to yell at.
No, you bought into it. Just like everybody else bought into it.
Well, because what alternative was there? We've seen him not healthy.
What's the alternative? Give him freaking shape to start the season.
I agree with you on that one.
You didn't agree.
Yes, I was angry he wasn't in shape to start the season. What I was saying was there a reason why he wasn't in shape? Was the knee worse than we thought? You
always went down to that. It's a knee. It was obvious that they set a tone. It's not important. He bought in. It's not important. Now, if you have personal responsibility as a star player who leads your team, what about that is right? That you buy in, that you take the time to not be ready to start a season.
And that's why I told you yesterday, and I said it again today, you were right on it. You were right because it did set a horrible tone, and now that's resulted in all of the stuff that we're seeing, and now this report, it's bad.
You helped set the horrible tone, and I'll never forgive you for it.
Well, you know what? This is such big news. Do you know who's in our YouTube chat right now?
Who's in our YouTube chat?
Ray Dunn.
Ray Dunn.
And he said, I'm cooked when I get back tomorrow because he's been permissive of it too. So at least I have him.
Both of you guys.
It's me. And the only thing that's important is that he's healthy for the playoffs.
You bunch of creeps. You allowed it to happen just like everybody else in this city.
Listen, I'll be the whipping boy today because you're correct. I was permissive of this. But I don't think saying I'm all right with load management means I'm okay with him not being in shape and I'm okay with him being late at meetings. That's a big jump forward. But I understand your point. It's the tone that was set. But I thought Joel was a better leader than that. I thought he would say, even though I'm going to be load managed, I'm going to show leadership, I'm going to show support, especially to all these new pieces that we got, that I'm going to be there to lead this team. And I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, especially when you look at the timing of this, where this happens. Like, obviously, the team meeting happens after rock bottom, but Joel's had this same mindset the entire year. So going into yesterday, they're 2-10, and he still has this lackadaisical mindset. And Tyrese Maxey has to get into it with him. And when he's asked about it afterwards, Joel, he's kind of joking around. Oh, yeah, what team meeting? Like, the timing of this just makes it seem like he is not taking any of this serious when this team's 2-11 and free-falling.
After they get smoked by Miami, he says, well, I guess I need to be more assertive. On what planet are you on that you don't know during the game you need to be more assertive? Why as you're getting waxed by that team, which has a losing record, after you realize you got to be more assertive? Because and this nonsense, hell, he was sick. All of a sudden, he can play. You know, he's the one who said he was sick. Like, that's part of the whole thing.
Well, I think him saying I need to be more assertive is trying to deflect from what the actual message of the meeting was, which is more about you need to be on time. You need to be present. So when he's asked about the meeting, and we played the clip earlier, he makes the joke, oh, was there a meeting? Ha-ha, and he laughs. And then he goes on to say, I need to be more assertive, because he wasn't going to come out and say what actually was discussed in the meeting, that I got called out by Tyrese Maxey. I'm the leader of the team, and Tyrese Maxey had to call me out. He wasn't going to admit that.
Him letting them know that he was sick is part of the whole malaise of him not being interested in this part of the season, which goes back to what they did because they enabled it. Let's go to Marcus in Center City. Marcus, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, Mike, I'm not worried because this reminds me of the Kobe-Shaq fight when Shaq was slacking off and Kobe was, getting on him. And that ended up getting 2 rings after that for Shaq and Kobe.
You think that Shaq has an Embiid's mindset a little different?
He had this mindset.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, go back and remember. Kobe was telling me, wasn't working hard enough?
Yeah, but Shaq is a killer. But Shaq is a killer in general.
He became a killer, right? He was killer then, but he was slacking off, Mike.
Yeah, but it's not the same because Shaq is a warrior who all he had to do was be tweaked, and he's going to be a warrior again. We don't know if this guy has that warrior mentality.
Well, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe that's the only thing we got to look forward to here because otherwise, like what I've been saying, trade the guy now. Get rid of him. You're not going to win with him.
You can't. You're not going to win if you trade him either.
Two comments. Well, you're not going to win with him. But listen, 2 comments that I don't like with Embiid. When he was yapping about what I've done for this city, you treated me like this. What has he done for this city? And number 2, he just said, well, he doesn't understand what they're doing on the court. When has he been on the court? How many games did he play out of 11 or whatever, 13 games? He played like 2 or 3 games? How would he know what they're doing on the court if he's sitting on the bench watching? I mean, this guy doesn't get it. He doesn't get it, Mike.
Again, the Shaq thing, it's a decent comparison because you're thinking that maybe this lights the fire under him. I mean, who knows what's going to light a fire under him? The only thing I know is that right now he's disinterested. And he's disinterested because they enabled it. and now they're trying to recover from it by throwing it out in public that there was a meeting where he got called out by a young kid star.
Yeah, and the fact that it's shams, it's got to be from the team.
And in the past, when things like this have happened, he's gone into his shell saying, you don't appreciate me. Instead of being the other way, which I want to rip your face off.
Oh, man. See, I was giving him the benefit of the doubt about the knee, saying that maybe the reason he came into camp out of shape was because of the knee. But I wouldn't think that they would leak this type of story if a lot of what he was dealing with was injury related. I feel like we would have heard that, oh, well, the knee's a little bit worse. That's why he came in out of shape. The fact that that's not mentioned at all here, it's just about how he's late for meetings and they had to have the team meeting. It's probably more along the lines what you thought was he didn't care about the regular season when he got to camp. He wasn't in shape because he knew regular season doesn't matter. That's what the Sixers franchises told me. It goes back to when he said, if I had to guess, I'm probably never playing back-to-backs again. You're right. It's almost as if he had the mentality, regular season doesn't matter, so why do I have to care about anything? And that's a bad message.
Let's take yesterday, for example. Like, he was questionable. He was downgraded to question he wasn't going to play, missed the shoot around. Now, you know what that elicited? Now that I know this story, that elicited in the locker room what? An eye roll. And that eye roll got translated back to him somehow where somebody said to him, somebody close to him, whoever it was, dude, it's probably best to tee it up. They're losing patience with you. And this is an example of it.
Yep.
Players also told 76ers coach Nick Nurse that they want to be coached harder. Now, what do you think that message is? Coach him harder.
Without a doubt, yeah. And the coaches in turn said they want players to practice with purpose and attention to detail. It's hard not to think they're talking about Joel. Yeah, it's a tough day.
The guy you just gave another $200 million a couple months ago.
Of course. And with that, there's no responsibility to play. You're going to get it anyway. Don't get the bag. Let's go to the text board, Tom. What do we have?
All right, we got people hot and bothered with your Sixers. Ed from Cinnamonston says, I love, all caps, love to see Maxey calling him out. Tyrese Maxey is a shark. He smells blood, quote, Embiid at the end of his career. And now Maxey is going to take leadership of this team, kind of similar to Kobe calling out of shape Shaq, like the caller just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, how do you think that's going to play out now with Embiid? That the kid is now the more popular. They're siding with the kid. What do you think Embiid? How do you think Embiid reacts to that after all he's done for this city?
Is Max the only one that Embiid would listen to an extent? Like, if anyone else calls out Embiid in that locker room, is it going to hit home as much as it would be coming from Maxey?
Well, who else would be the one that called
Paul George wouldn't? He just got here.
Yeah, Paul George wouldn't do it. Caleb Martin wouldn't do it. Maybe Kyle Lowry, being a veteran guy, and he was here for a little bit of time last season. Didn't play that much with Joel last year, though, because of the injury. I guess Lowry could have been somebody to call him out, but I think it had to be Maxey.
It's kind of a last resort.
And they have a close relationship. We know that. So probably meant more, and maybe Joel would handle it better coming from Maxey. It is frustrating, though.
You know, he's going to say the right thing. He's going to say the right thing in public.
Joel is.
Yeah. He's going to say the right. Tyrese and I are tight, and I take his advice. You know, he'll do that. Now, after that, how he feels about it, we'll see. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Missanelli Show has been holding court.
Tell I am trying to be lighthearted about this whole thing with the Philadelphia 76ers. I sit here and I watch the same thing that you watch, and I go, this team is in trouble in so many different ways it's not even funny. And I know the big salvation is that when the big three get together, there'll be enough time to get it together and make a run. See, all this stuff that I talked about prior to the season that everybody came at me for and shirked. Oh, Mike, you're just overreacting. It's a good thing that they're saving him and putting him in bubble wrap because the playoffs are the only thing that counts.
Mike and Bill have been pleading their cases.
I'm extremely depressed about this Sixers team because I was excited this offseason, as most Sixers fans were. There were some who didn't like going after a 34-year-old Paul George, but I thought, hey, he got the best player available. It's exactly what this team needed. They've been looking for that wing that can create on the offensive side of the court.
He's 34 years old, Paul George. Does he look like the dominant player that he once was on an every night basis?
Came out strong yesterday.
He was 5 for 13.
I don't know what to tell you, Mike. I want to be positive
seriously.
today.
And then he fiddles around, and Yabusele is not even in the rotation.
Yeah, he didn't get minutes until the end of the third, I think.
I don't know what to say. I really don't.
The Mike Missanelli Show Holding Court is brought to you by Grunko Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. We treat every case like it's Dallas Week. Pray for peace, prepare for trial. Now back to Mike Missanelli on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Folks, there's certainly enough to react to if you're a Sixer fan right now because the news that just dropped, that meeting last night also included Tyrese Maxey calling out Embiid for being late to everything and not taking the craft seriously enough, thereby setting a bad tone for an entire team as they try to move past this malaise. So here's how you get in. 610-632-0975. Our 1 o'clock hour is brought to you by Ferguson HVAC Line Conklin. Attention HVAC contractors for equipment, parts, and supplies for every heating and cooling job. Visit one of Ferguson's account locations in Bensalem, King Prussia, Pennsauken, or Westchester. Now, this could go two ways. One way is the Kobe Shaq example where Embiid gets called out and says, now I'm going to balls to the wall. Or the other thing is he could sulk and say, all I did for the city, this is the thanks I get, even from my own teammates. Now, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Here's what I know. That the odds of them now getting a good spot in the playoffs are not good because they have to play 10 games over 500 to just get the 8th seed. The 8th seed.
It's not good, man. And you're talking about how Embiid is going to react to all this. Well, he can't be happy that this got leaked to the media. I mean, getting called out by Maxey is one thing in a team meeting, but now that this is out and Shams reports it and the whole world knows about it.
Well, he got called out nationally by Shaq and Charles.
Yeah, but that's different than when it's your teammate, Tyrese Maxey, having to call you out for being late to everything. And then them going a step further and telling the coaches we want to be coached harder, which you and I assume they're talking about specifically coaching Joel harder. This is just a bad look for the Sixers, but more importantly for Joel Embiid. I don't know how he reacts to this. Does he get defensive, like you said? Does he try to push back and get a little defensive, all I've done? Or does he take this to heart and say, you know what, I got to be better? We'll find out soon.
All right. Let me get to this tweet. It was on my, if you want to tweet me, it's MikeMiss25. Jose tweets, it's pretty clear that the Sixers organization is upset with Joel. They probably had a plan for him post-Olympics and expected him to be in shape. He came out of shape, and that explains Nick Nurse's frustration at press conferences, the slow start, and now this story. Well, also there's you kind of have to stay on him, right? Once the Olympics ended, do you not have a physical trainer that's with him constantly to get him in shape? Like, what did they do? Let's say take whatever, just relax. Weren't they on top of that situation?
Well, I mean, you're saying the team.
I'm talking about the team, yeah.
But
he's saying
why would he?
They allowed him to come. They expected him to be in shape. Well, on his own.
Wait, where are you reading that?
This is a tweet that I just read.
Oh, that guy. Okay, that's not a report. That's the tweet.
No, it's a tweet. They probably had a plan for him post-Olympics and expected him to be in shape. Well, they can influence him being in shape, can't they?
They can, and I know what you're saying, but at the same time, doesn't Joel have an obligation to come in shape himself?
Well, yeah, but you don't get yourself in shape anyway. Those players don't get themselves in shape. They have a trainer that gets themselves in shape.
That's what I'm saying, but he would have one.
Well, he wouldn't have a personal trainer. The Sixers staff would be training him.
Not in the offseason.
Yes, of course they would.
But so
of course they would. He can come to the facility anytime he wants. There probably should have been a supervised plan.
Well, I don't even know if he was local, though. He's in Paris, and then did he go on a trip to do something with the NBA? He wasn't local.
He lives here.
I guess. Look, I think I'm not absolving Joel Embiid for not being in shape if it's, the Sixers didn't give him a trainer. I think as a professional athlete, it's your obligation to be in shape. Look, dude, I played Division III football, okay? We would come in to training camp, and the first thing they would do is have us run 4 300s that, depending on your position, you had to get under a certain amount of time. And that's how they declared whether or not you were in shape when you came into camp. And if you weren't, you couldn't practice until you could beat the times. Yeah, that's Division III. You're telling me professional athletes need a trainer?
Yes, professional athletes' workouts are all supervised. Now, a lot of them play pickup basketball to stay in shape. The team kind of frowns on that because they can get hurt. These are all supervised workouts that they have at their whim. And that's what I'm saying. Okay, Joel, 8 o'clock tomorrow. All that stuff is supervised. Now,
but the Sixers had to tell him this? That's what I don't get. So if the Sixers didn't give him someone, he goes, well, I guess I just don't work out for the next 3 months. Of course there was trainers involved in this, especially because he's rehabbing from the knee. I just think if we look at the Sixers, then we're absolving Joel.
I'm not absolving Joel at all. Personal responsibility is one thing, but there's some people you have to step on. There have been players in the past you had to step on. And so if this is a guy you had to step on, then you've got to be proactive.
Man, you're not wrong that there are players that need to be stepped on, but if Joel Embiid needs to be stepped on, that's a problem. You're an MVP caliber player that was entering this season with what we all thought was going to be your best supporting cast ever. You went out all offseason and you recruited Paul George. He signs here. They get Caleb Martin. It's supposed to be the year that they're going to compete in the Eastern Conference, and he needs to be stepped on?
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that Maxey calling him out puts to rest your notion that he has a hurt knee?
It does. That's why I said it earlier, because nowhere in that report does it mention the knee. It's just about him being late, and they need to be coached harder. So I don't think – I was trying to find reasons that he came in out of shape and that he hasn't looked great. And I said, well, maybe the knee is worse than we thought. But this kind of makes me think otherwise.
Let's look at Nick Nurse, because there's two separate issues here. The team that he's coaching without Embiid, you would think that he would be able to coach to a few more wins than they have. Our Matt Menarek did a breakdown of the minus action when they fall apart. They fall apart in second quarters, and they fall apart in third and fourth quarters. In fact, in the second half, there's only one time in every second half of this year where they actually have a plus.
Yeah, against Indiana. Yeah, it's wild because they're actually a +9 in the first quarter.
And in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these games, they've had a double-digit minus, including a -20 last night in the second half.
So what do you attribute this to? What is it that's resulting in them having decent first quarters?
I don't know. Bad rotations, bad coaching, not getting back on defense, turning the ball over. Everything that is involved in coaching a team, they're not doing. So what is it? The coach's message not getting through? He's not a good enough coach? So what is it? You tell me.
Well, another part of this report.
The effort is bad. The coach is supposed to get effort out of his players.
But another part of this report was that Joel said he sometimes doesn't understand what they're trying to do on the court. Is that a shot at the coach? He's not happy with this offense that they're running?
I don't know. They try to accommodate him like beyond belief. And they've accommodated him mainly by saying, we don't need you to go into post every possession. That's how they've accommodated him. Now, that opens the floor for a lot of drivers. Maybe that's good for Maxey. But like in a game last night where he says after the game he has to assert himself a little more, why didn't he assert himself in the game last night? He played 31 minutes.
He was sick.
He played 31 minutes being, quote-unquote, sick.
He was sick. And because he was sick, they said no one saw him yesterday until the game. It says he was not seen by most teammates and coaches throughout the day before appearing for warm-ups.
You know, here's the reaction. Man, this guy. That's the reaction from the rest of the play. Damn, this guy.
Yep.
You know? That's an eye roll. Verbal eye roll. 610-632-0975. Apparently, we have to go to the text board because there's a lot of texts. But people are now upset they got Ajita to discuss it. They don't know what to say.
Yeah,
They don't. Sixer fans here, they don't know what to say right now.
Because I think they voiced their displeasure. We got a ton of calls last week with their displeasure with the Sixers, and now it's just like,
Now they don't know what to say.
We're done. They're done. Sixers fans are done.
Mike Missanelli Show back after this.
Tuesday, November 19th.
17, Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. Yeah, the wonder boy GM that everybody thought here, Joe Douglas, was the brains, and he just got fired as the Jets GM. Boy, what a job he did.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
He didn't do a great job, but that owner's an issue. And given the keys to Aaron Rodgers.
Woody Johnson?
Yeah, you've seen Belichick's taken a lot of shots at him and the Jets organization. Yeah, they're a mess, man.
It's just amazing to me how organizations just can't get it right. That organization has never gotten it right, ever.
Never.
Really?
Absolutely never.
And you look at another former Eagle, Andrew Berry went to the Browns and gave Deshaun Watson that contract, maybe the worst contract in the history of the NFL.
Andrew Berry was highly rated here, too. Up-and-coming exec.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Didn't work out too well.
A lot of people under Howie. Now, there is a guy that's having a lot of success who was here, and that's Brett Veach. Brett Veach in Kansas City was here. He was like Andy Reid's assistant. And I remember there was this like young kid following Andy Reid everywhere.
Yeah.
And then he results in being one of the best GMs in the NFL. I guess it helps when you get Mahomes, but good job Veach is doing.
All right. In any event, I think Sixer fans, let's get to the text board. Tom, what are the people saying? Is they don't want to talk about it. It's amazing to me.
I'm shocked
that Sixer fans are just kind of stunned about this whole thing, the way this has transpired. Because when you think about the whole dynamic of what the Sixers were supposed to be, they were supposed to be a contender. Really? I mean, they put together, everybody said, oh, my God, Daryl Morey won the offseason. He got the best free agent out there. They got a big three. They're really going to be a contender. And look at what has happened.
What do we got on the text board?
Yeah, we got a lot of mixed reviews. Some people feel really good about Maxey doing this. Others are negative, like Norman Mayfair here. The whole team is tired with their big stars' lousy antics, and the fans are too, along with the hideous start of the season. Embiid, wake the bleep up. The season has started, whether you realize it or not.
Oh, he realizes it. He just doesn't feel that he needs to play right now.
And we got another one here who is pro this happening. This is no name, unfortunately. Maxey is awesome for this. Someone has to do it. A shame that it came out in the public this way. He has to man up. Being late all the time is disrespectful to the team and the coach. It's not right. No one is above all this, regardless of how much money he's getting paid.
See, this is a revelation that he's late. Nobody knew this. And I'm sure Maxey feels bad that it got out in public.
I don't like tardiness.
Really do. But see, this is where the Sixers come in. Well, we can't say this to Joel because he'll pout. But maybe if it gets out there in public, these are the games organizations play all the time.
So you think this is an intentional lead?
I don't think there's any question
from the team.
It's intentional. Because if they put him on the griddle, what would his reaction be?
I've done too much for this city.
Now, if they put it out that one of his most popular teammate, by the way, who always plays hard and always has a smile on his face and loves to play the game, says it, this is perfect that we throw that out there.
I don't like that it gets out. I still don't like that it gets out. I love that Maxey does hold them accountable. I just don't know. But what do you accomplish by leaking this? What gets accomplished?
What gets accomplished is that you finally light the fire under them. Now, the whole contradiction to this is they were permissive to it from the start. Now they feel that they didn't realize it was going to go this bad, so now they have to light the fire. And this is a shot to light the fire. They're taking a chance that this could light a fire. Where does Shams get his information? Was he in the locker room?
No.
Did Maxey call him after this happened? Like, how does he get the information? There's a mole in there that's connected with the management of this team.
Well, here's what he describes his source. A person involved in the meeting told ESPN.
Person involved in the meeting could be anybody. But the person involved in the meeting wouldn't be a player. It would be somebody connected with the team.
It's just an interesting decision that they had to leak this to motivate Joel. Like, how bad are things with Joel that they have to leak it? What were you
Does
saying,
this
Tom?
tell you at all, if this is obvious, like Mike said, getting leaked from the organization, is this kind of evidence that the organization is starting to panic a little bit here, where even though they have this...
Yes.
Like, is this a kind of...
It's exactly what it is. They were permissive to it. They didn't think it would go this bad. Their plan was, well, we can win a lot of games even though he's not playing, and this way we have the best of both worlds because we preserve him and we kind of stay in it. Well, now that they're not in it, and now that the numbers don't favor them because they have to reach 46 victories, which is the 8th seed of last year, they have to go 44-25, and they're looking at it going, well, wait a minute, that wasn't our plan.
But we're asking the question of how Joel responds to this.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Joel Embiid and I show up today, aren't I asking the question how this got out? As a leader of the team, aren't you asking the question to your teammates and to the organization, how did this get leaked? This was supposed to be a players' meeting. This was supposed to be a team-only meeting. How does this get leaked? So now don't you become more concerned about the mole in the locker room than responding to the criticism, reacting?
What are you going to do about that? Like, it could be anybody. What can you do other than get mad about it, pout about it? The bottom line is, if you're going to get more mad at somebody who leaked it than your own personal responsibility, then what kind of a player are you anyway? That's going to be the main focus for you, who leaked the freaking thing? When you're the guy that's getting called out for not doing the right things?
Knowing what you know about Joel, with all the years he's been here in Philadelphia, do you think he cares about who leaked this? I do. I think Joel's more concerned probably today about who's leaking this to the media, everything I've done for this team, and this is getting leaked to the media to make me look bad. I'm not saying I would react that way. I'm saying, knowing what I know about Joel, I think that's how he's going to react.
He knows stuff is leaked all the time, though. He's not a babe in the woods when it comes to this new journalism. There were Woj bombs have been happening for how many years? Shams has been happening for how many years? This stuff gets out. There's podcasts, players talk. It's a plethora of information now that gets out there.
Yeah, we'll see how he responds, man. And it looks like Maxi's coming back Wednesday or Friday. Desperate times call for desperate measures, I guess. Sixers were desperate, and they decided this is the way to go.
So are they rushing back Maxey then? Is he not 100%?
This puts the local reporters that cover this team on the griddle right now. Now they got to go to Maxey.
Yeah,
they got to go to Maxey. They got to go to Embiid. They got to go to Daryl Morey, general manager. If he actually appears out of the wormhole and surfaces and talks about something, Nurse is going to get grilled about it.
Oh yeah. They don't have any media availability today, I don't think, right? It would be tomorrow.
Yeah, off they're heading to Memphis. Yeah, probably tomorrow.
When's Morey coming on the show?
Listen, he's got an open invitation to come on the show. I have asked ad nauseum to have Daryl Morey on this show to answer some questions.
I mean, at this point, and this is less about us getting him on the show, more about for the fans, I think Daryl Morey needs to speak at this point. This season is spiraling quickly, and we haven't heard from him. We have no idea what's going on. I'd like to hear from Daryl Morey. Help us. Put the minds at ease of these Sixers fans, please.
Well, he's not going to put anybody's mind at ease right now because they're in turmoil. But again, ladies and gentlemen, the stat is daunting. To reach 46 victories, the amount the 8th-seeded Heat compiled last season, they must go 44-25 the rest of the way. To get into the play-in tournament with the 10th seed, that number was 36 wins. That's manageable. They go 34-35. But if they get the 10th seed, guess who they have to play if they survive?
Well, if anybody took the under and wins, you could probably cash that ticket now. It was 51.5. No shot.
610-632-0975. Back after this. Mike Missanelli show. People just do not want to talk about it because they're upset. I'm looking at a tweet from on my Twitter feed. Decade-long season holder. Don't want to talk about it right now.
I think that's the general consensus.
In caps, by the way. There's another guy, Thomas Collins. By the way, your last name's Collins. Do you name your kid Tom?
Probably not.
I don't know, man.
I've never drank a Tom Collins.
Yeah, it's a gin drink.
Never had it.
Yeah, it's all right. Anyway, he makes a good point, Thomas Collins. How long before Joel wants out? I think he could force his way to Miami to team up with Jimmy Butler. I can see a trade where they send us Bam, another role player, and a bunch of first-round picks. That's the one thing when I think about it makes decent sense. Miami can't win in their current form.
But you can't. They can't win without Joel. They can't. This team is right now.
If they want to change the landscape of it and they think that they have enough offense, the Bam would be a very important player for them as a center, different type of center. Maybe that works better with the way Nurse coaches. Bam, another young role player, and a bunch of first-round draft picks.
It doesn't beat the Celtics, and you don't have time with Paul George to wait for those first-rounders to be able to contribute.
No, it might not work this year, but maybe it's a better all-around team for Nurse. I'm just musing here. I don't know. I happen to have great respect for. I think Bam's a solid player.
He's a good player.
He helps you in a lot of different ways, and you don't have to score with Bam.
What do you think right now, though, Joel's value would be? Like, why would you trade Joel now? Do you really think you're going to be able to get that big of a package?
I don't know, but I'm saying this makes sense. If Miami is intrigued enough to say, we can win with this guy. We can't win with our current team. We can win with Embiid playing with Butler. They love each other the whole bit. So we'll send them Bam, Duncan Robinson, and first-round draft picks. How do you think? What do you think?
As angry as I am right now, I'm not to the point of saying trade Joel.
So you're telling me that if he checks out on you and he wants to trade and you can get Bam, Duncan Robinson, and a bunch of first-round draft picks, you wouldn't do that?
Is he really going to check out? Is that what I can't imagine?
Well, is he really going to be the dominant player that we've known? I'll counter your question with a question. Is he going to be enthused enough to be the dominant enough player to lead this team?
Assuming that the knee is okay, and I say okay, it'll never be 100%, but assuming it's okay, I think Joel will respond to this. I think because it was Maxey, because he was involved in recruiting Paul George, and apparently they're friends off the court, I think Joel will respond. I'm not to the point of saying, let's blow everything up, trade Embiid, try to get first-round draft picks. It's just, you got to take your shot with the next 3 years. That's the reason you signed Paul George. Joel, when he's healthy, was still dominant last season. He was still dominant in the playoffs, even on one leg. So I'm not to the point, as angry as we all are, I'm not to the point saying trade Joel Embiid. He's still one of the best players in the NBA, Mike.
I also don't believe he can be traded till next year, according to the contract.
Is that an NBA rule, or is that he would have to give approval?
I think it's transaction restrictions, I believe. I'll look a little bit into it more, but I've been seeing that around the social media, that he's not able to be traded till next year.
Because he's just signed a new contract.
Yeah.
All right.
But truth serum, Mike, you're not ready to give up on Joel.
No, it's illogical. I'm just commenting on this guy's hypothetical trade where I'm going, Nick Nurse would probably do that. Nick Nurse would probably rather coach Bam as a center for his system than Embiid. And I'm going, okay, if you get Duncan Robinson, a bench three-point shooter, and you get first-round draft picks, and you still have a starting lineup of Maxey, George, Bam, Caleb Martin, and whoever.
Yeah. Yeah, the YouTube chat, though, is agreeing with Tom, saying Tom is correct. He can't be traded until next year.
Okay.
Sorry, Nick Nurse.
Well, then that's the end of that, and that's the end of his Tom Collins tweet.
Now,
I'm going to have a Tom Collins now. Forget about it.
Now, we're talking a lot about Maxey calling out Joel for being late for everything, which has taken all the headlines. But the other part of this story, them asking Nick Nurse to coach them harder. What do you take from that?
I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, how is he supposed to coach them harder?
I don't know, but the fact that the players felt like they needed to stand up to their coach and say, hey, you got to coach us harder.
Well, I think that's saying instead of making all these excuses, get in his ass and don't worry about the ramifications of it. And maybe Nurse was a little reluctant to do that.
So do you think that this entire meeting was mainly about Joel? That when they say coach harder, they're saying coach our star harder. Hold him more accountable.
Possible. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I think that they were exasperated when this report came out that he wasn't going to play in this game because he was sick. I think that elicited an eye roll. I think that they then put Joe. Can you listen? It'll be good for the team if you got it out and try to go tonight.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Because I think that was a reflection of maybe what the team was feeling.
Is there any chance at all, Nurse is gone before the end of the year? No. I don't think he deserves to be. But
no, he's not gone. No, they think they made a good hire with Nurse.
It's always someone's fault.
Yeah, it's interesting, Tom, because if it's not Nurse, right? If this team continues to struggle, then Daryl Morey has to accept responsibility then and said, I built a horrible team.
Unless the star player turns on Nurse, unless Embiid forces, I don't know. I mean, the player always has control of the coach's fate.
Now, Bill Morris on YouTube. This is the wake-up call the Sixers needed. Maxey's back. The Sixers will take off. They're going to win 20 games before they lose 20, guaranteed.
Well, we'll see.
So some positivity.
We'll see. I hope you have to, I hope you include your feelings about who they have off the bench. When you got Grandpa and Pop-Up coming in off the bench.
Grandpa.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry. He aged quick.
Yeah.
Well, you can have McCain now. You can have McCain coming off the bench with who? He's going to have to play with Maxey. They're going to have to figure it out.
Who else?
Yeah, Lowry's going to have to be off the bench. Is Oubre a bench guy now? So he got him coming off the bench.
Well, how's he looking off the bench?
Well, maybe he's another guy that needs to be coached a little harder. He doesn't look like he's that interested in coming off the bench. We got to hope this is a wake-up call for the whole team. I can't imagine that all these guys just forgot how to play basketball.
You're very optimistic. You're an optimistic guy. I like that.
I'm trying, man.
I like it. Chuck in North Philly, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Chuck.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's up, Chuck?
Real quick, I just want to know how is Joel Embiid the victim in all this? Because, I mean, his famous quote was everything that he did for the city where, it's nobody's fault that the guy's been hurt most of his or half of his career, but how could you just act like you're the victim in all this where you're getting paid top dollar to perform, right? And yes, we expect you to play in certain instances that you're hurt, but don't all professional players play injured? I mean, and now the tardiness is clearly affecting the team morale. Maybe that's why Maxey said something to him about it in the locker room. And who cares, who leaked it? Because if you was doing your part, then, reporters, the mole, whoever would be like, well, listen, let's keep this under wraps. So clearly there's frustration around the organization with this guy as far as him just constantly always coming up with some type of excuse, whether it's valid or not. We just saying, this is like the story of his career.
No, you are absolutely 100% right, Chuck. He has, listen, for as great as he's been at times, he's also been a diva. There's no question. Yeah, he's been a diva.
And it's just listen, to me personally, I think he's trying to somehow, some way, like you guys touched on, trying to get them to just be fed up with him and ship him out of here. I don't know. That's just my guess because, as a player, you have to understand the frustration of the media, the fans, the organization, whoever. And it just makes it hard on everybody. Like how you said, Nick Nurse can't coach a certain way because, your star player's not here. So I can't even base everything around you. I'm juggling different lineups. There's no chemistry being developed on a consistent basis. So in reality, like, what are we to expect from the team?
Chuck, this is a great call. I mean, I'm glad we got a call in to express what Chuck just expressed. There's a conflict here for me in the permissiveness of the organization to allow this to happen at the start, in conflict with his personal responsibility. Because I think that his personal responsibility, he got the message from the organization that it's okay to ramp up, that it's more important for us to save you. And I think he played completely into it. That meant he didn't have personal responsibility to show up in shape. I've got several months to get in shape. I get, if the only thing that matters is the playoffs, then what the hell? Why should I bust my ass to be ready for game one?
Yeah, and the fact that the team is 2-11 and looked as bad as they have looked, and Joel's only played in 3 of them, but the fact that the players' meeting after the game, the team meeting after the game, was about Joel tells me that things must be really bad with what Joel's doing. Because you got all these other issues, and Joel only played in 3 of them. But yet, they have a team meeting, and what gets leaked after is Maxey had to call out Joel Embiid. So how bad have things been over the start of this season with practice and everything else? Not a good look for Joel Embiid today.
By the way, Tom Alvord, who's producing the show today, revealed on our show sheet that he was paying attention to the Flyers much more than the Sixers last night.
He did admit that.
Anyway, I wanted to ask, am I alone? You probably are alone. But that said, I did catch the end of that Flyers game. Boy, the boys were buzzing with the goalie pulled, almost getting the equalizer, as we say.
Almost.
They were behind the 8 ball for most of the game, Bill, and they almost got the equalizer, eh?
Listen to Mikey Miss talking some Flyers, eh?
Well, my basketball team's not entertaining, so I got to look elsewhere. You know what I mean?
They were buzzing. 6:05. The Colorado Avalanche couldn't get it out of their own zone.
So here's the crazy thing. You know how big of
They tried to send it up the wall. Couldn't do it, Billy.
You know how big of a Flyers fan
We're Irish.
I am. I actually hate watched the Sixers over the Flyers. Like, I actually turned to my wife, quote unquote. I said, I want to see how ugly this gets. So I watched the Sixers over the Flyers, which I will rarely do. But and at that point, it was 3-0, so I didn't think they could come back anyway. But I watched the Sixers just because I wanted to see how bad it was going to be.
True Philadelphian.
Yeah.
We almost got we all also got a no call out of Jim Jackson late in the game when Konechny skated across the middle, and I didn't think it was a penalty. No, but he gave a mild no call. Normally, he goes no call. He was a no call. So play continues. He went that way.
He went that way. It was
yes, he did.
Hey, so they score! Fly guys, baby. They're going to win more games than the Sixers this year, potentially. Who saw that one coming?
Oh, my God. Oh, but they were buzzing. I thought they were going to get that tying goal, send it into overtime. Didn't happen.
All right.
It's time for closing arguments.
Now, closing arguments on the Mike Missanelli Show. Brought to you by Lowenthal and Abrams Injury Attorneys. Injured in an accident, call 800-876-LAWYER or visit LowenthalAbrams.com.
Well, before this news hit today, my argument was pretty much the argument that I've fostered for most of this show, which is the Embiid situation has gotten to a point where he's losing his cachet with the fan base. And we just took a call of an example of that he's losing his cachet, that he's no longer the guy that steps to the line and gets MVP. That somebody leaked that information in that meeting that Maxey called him out for being late for, quote, everything. So there are 2 ways that this could go. He could get mad, and he could say, yeah, you're right, and I got to get personal responsibility. Just like he did when Shaq called him out for not being aggressive enough. And he said, I listen to people I respect. Well, he's friends with Maxey. Maybe he listens and says, now it's time to get it in gear. Even though the organization kind of gave me carte blanche to come into this year to ramp up and get in shape whenever I get in shape, maybe now is the time that I got to have personal responsibility and look into the mirror and really start playing for this team. Now, things could look rosy when Maxey gets back, and the three of them play. And three of them play with a new attitude from Joel Embiid. And boom, they take off. I don't know if that's going to happen. We shall see. There's a lot of drama in an NBA season, and there's certainly a lot of drama with the Philadelphia 76ers. And we're here to bring you that drama on a daily basis, Billy.
Unfortunately, yeah, there has been a lot of drama. But, Mike, I'm going to take the positive approach here. Because as ugly as this has been, the 2-11 start, the fact that Maxey has to call out Joel Embiid, it's all about how you respond to adversity. And the Sixers season has started with a lot of it. And Joel Embiid said he's done a lot for this city. He's done too much for this city. It's now up to him to respond to this adversity of having to be called out by his good friend Tyrese Maxey. That gets leaked to everyone. People are going to be coming after him. People are going to be coming after it. I already see Twitter. I already see a lot of people saying trade Joel, even though that's not contractually possible until next year. How does Joel Embiid respond to this? I think this is going to tell us a lot about Joel, and I, for some reason, think he's going to respond in a very good way. Because what would be the alternative? That he just sulks and that people kill him even more? It's time for him to respond. He's going to show up. This team still has a good roster. I'm not ready to give up on the 76ers season just yet.
All right, so in the hypothetical trade that can't happen, you're telling me that you would not have traded Joel Embiid to the Miami Heat for Bam, Duncan Robinson, and some first-round draft picks?
No, I would not. I still want to see what Joel, Maxey, and Paul George can do together with this roster as assembled. Maybe add a piece or two at the trade deadline. We'll see. It's a long season. But come on, man. You can't give up on Joel yet. The guy's still a dominant force in the NBA.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to the program. We'll have more to say about this tomorrow, which is General Knowledge Wednesday. Ray Dunn back in the saddle. Tom Alford, nice job, buddy.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Glad that you're here.
Thanks, Tommy.
Have a great night, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow.